Chapter 1038, The White Tiger's Daughter. Chapter 1038, The White Tiger's Daughter. Things were getting more complicated. All the evolved people have appeared. Yin Huang Ancestor was secretly shocked. No wonder these people could control Chaos Realm's soul treasure. So these people could obtain Chaos Realm's power. Who is it? Who's doing this? Why did he choose God's martial continent? Is it related to the secret treasures of the Dragon Clan? Yin Huang Ancestor also felt that this matter was not simple. Long Fei was not worried about all these. He did not care about those evolved people or those from the Chaos Realm. What he wanted to know was, what did they do to the Nantian region? Late at night, the stars in the desert were incomparably beautiful. The bikini-armored woman's team had a total of 7 people. The 2 elders controlling Luo Ling Nexus. 2 guards. A warrior responsible for driving the carriage. The other 2 were the woman captain and the young man. While walking, they did not talk much, but Long Fei noticed that although the woman held the position of leader in the group, she was actually isolated. The other 5 were led by young men. She, as the captain, was completely overthrown. The lady patrolled the iron cage once, and Long Fei immediately asked, "Can you tell me why you want to capture us?" The woman didn't reply. She only glanced at Long Fei. Following that, the woman stood at a high place, as if she was standing guard, and also seemed to be thinking about something. Long Fei kept looking at him, and asked the Yin Huang Ancestor his heart, "Where are the Yin soldiers?" Yin Huang Ancestor said, "They have already arrived. As long as you give the order, they can immediately appear." "All right, keep your distance. The abilities of these evolved people are still unclear. Don't let them discover us." Long Fei reminded in his heart. Last time after the Go soldiers came out, Long Fei did not summon them into the Divine Seal of Sticks, but allowed them to freely move around, like demon beastess to kill demon beastess. This time, Long Fei had brought them to the Savage Domain. There were many places that Long Fei could not go to, but they could enter them. The Hellcore was a powerful force. Yin Huang Ancestor said, "I already did as you said. Since you've been captured, you should take a good rest. You haven't slept well in such a long time. I'll think of a way to remove the Luo Ling net binding you." Yin Huang Ancestor felt his heartache. His relationship with Long Fei was that of a brother, master, and servant, and also like an ancestor. He had watched Long Fei walk all the way here. Only he knew how much suffering Long Fei had endured up to this point. No martial artist could do such a thing. Long Fei's eyes closed slightly, and in less than half a minute, he fell into a deep sleep. He didn't know how long he slept. Suddenly, Yin Huang Ancestor's anxious voice sounded out in his heart. "Long Fei, wake up, something's wrong." Long Fei suddenly woke up, looked around him, and saw that everything was very quiet. His heart was startled for a moment, and then asked, "What's the situation?" At this moment, one of the Go soldiers standing outside the cage said in a hurry, "Boss, for small teams like this one are rapidly advancing towards here. They are armed to the teeth and have a strong killing intent. I'm worried that they are coming for you." 4 squads. Long Fei's brain spun as he flew, saying, "Go back first. You can listen to my orders at any time." "Yes, sir." Long Fei then asked, "Ancestor, how much time do I have to undo the restrictions on my body?" Yin Huang Ancestor said, "I still need a bit more time." While Long Fei was sleeping, he had been constantly exhausting his own profound qi to help Long Fei remove the bindings. His current strength was still very weak. It would take a long time to unravel the power of the Chaos Realm's soul treasure. He had to exhaust his profound qi just to do this. Normal power would not be able to do it. Long Fei frowned and immediately woke up the person in the iron cage. "Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up," he said. None of these people had low cultivation bases. They woke up at once with any sound. The few of them looked at Long Fei and grumbled, "What are you guys arguing about?" "Brat, if you don't sleep, we still want to sleep." Long Fei said, "Can any of you tell me why they arrested me? Just how many Savage Domain-s do they have like that? Did you not hear it clearly during the day? Catch us and send us to the Nantian region." However, before we did that, he brainwashed us. It could also be said that it was an evolution. Only then could we completely listen to his orders, and only then could we do things that they could not do. Kid, do you understand now? The few of them were very unhappy. Being disturbed while sleeping was a very unpleasant thing. Long Fei's mind started working frantically. Evolved us? Brainwashing? Then, could those 4 teams be here to snatch us away? Is it a kind of achievement? Or who? Did they come to target this team? Long Fei could not understand, but he was sure that danger was approaching. He suddenly stood up and faced the woman who was still trembling on the distant hill and shouted, "The night is long, and I have no intention to sleep. Beautiful lady, come over here and chat." Everyone in the iron cage was looking at Long Fei. He had a stupefied expression on his face. They had a chat at night, and Long Fei's tone was filled with flirtatiousness and flirting. Teasing the captain? Is this kid insane? The woman didn't look back. Long Fei muttered in his heart, "Stupid woman." And then, Long Fei smiled obscenely. "Beautiful lady, please give me face. It's boring if you stand guard by yourself. Why don't I go out and accompany you? Whatever you want. Looking at how alluring your clothes are, you must be a very developed woman. Tell me, how many people have dared to mess with you? From your physique and your mount, you should be the daughter of the white tiger, right? Haha, I've never been in a white tiger girl before. I heard that this kind of woman is very fierce, even more ferocious than the Black Widow. Once in a bed, not to mention a man, even the bed wouldn't be able to take it. Is there no man who can satisfy you? Don't worry, I can definitely do it. I've trained for a whole night and have been able to hold up the sky for so long." Ha ha! These were all nonsense said by Long Fei. But there was one thing he was right about. This woman was truly the daughter of the white tiger. The campsite woke up with Long Fei's noise. The lady was enraged by Long Fei. The sword at his waist moved, and he charged forward with a murderous look on his face. Inside the young man's tent, the man's eyebrows tightened as he asked, "What's going on outside? Can you shut him up?" He looked impatient. An old man quickly replied, "The slaves that were captured this afternoon are really teasing the captain. The captain is also angry. He will stop after a while." The young man was stunned and said, "Ha ha, taking liberties with that male matron of the heavenly star realm? Is he courting death? A slave captured today. His life is mine." The man's eyes turned sinister as he immediately walked out of the tent. Chapter 1039, Threatened by the Boss. Chapter 1039, Threatened by the Boss. Everyone in the camp was woken up by Long Fei. Everyone's face was filled with anger. At the same time, they felt the edge of the cage again with the look of people watching a good play. Chasing down a captain? Let alone a slave. Even they didn't dare to do it. Especially since the white tiger's daughter, that Long Fei mentioned, had even angered the nerve in Tianxing's heart. He would definitely not let Long Fei off lightly. Even though Tianxing was wearing a 3-point armor while being exposed, she was a real man. She was exceptionally fierce and had angered her. There was no good ending for her. "Kid, you're tired of living. I've never seen anyone as unafraid of death as you. As long as you don't implicate us." Everyone in the iron cage kept their distance from Long Fei, afraid that they would be caught in the crossfire. Tianxing Jian's sword flashed with a cold light. He arrived in front of the iron cage and stared at Long Fei. "If you don't shut up, I'll smash your mouth to pieces." Long Fei said, "You won't." "You can try." Long Fei said, "If you smash my mouth to pieces, I can't say it. You are about to be surrounded." As soon as he finished, Skystar's eyes turned cold as he looked at Long Fei seriously. At this time, the young man walked over and laughed. "Brat, we are surrounded. In this savage domain, who dares to touch us? It's more like seeking death." The man wasn't afraid at all. This was because no one in the savage domain dared to touch them. Long Fei smiled slightly. "What if it's one of your own?" The man glared with disdain. "Our own people are even more impossible. Do you even know who I am? If anyone dares to touch me." Before he could finish his sentence, a special arrow had pierced through his body. Shwa! An arrow pierced through his chest, knocking him to the ground. He spat out a mouthful of blood and shouted in panic, "Hurry and save me." The spirit armor defense on his body was instantly penetrated. He was also instantly scared to the point of peeing. Tianxin looked at Long Fei and immediately said, "Enemy attack." Long Fei said, "Hurry up and release me. I can help you too." Tianxin ignored them, saying to the two guards, "You guys keep an eye on them. Don't let anyone snatch them away." Finished. The Heavenly Star idea moved, summoning the white tiger. With a flip of its body, it leapt onto the mountain and rushed straight to the hillside, watching the hunting squad charge from all directions. Tianxin's gaze grew tense as he cried out, "Third Elder, why must you do this?" In the middle of the team, one of the elders shivered before laughing. Tianxin truly is a heavenly star. To be able to guess who I am, this is good as well. It also saves me the time of hiding my face and making it seem like I'm stealing from a dog. The old man walked out. The four teams quickly surrounded them. The elder laughed coldly. Tianxin, I will give you two a chance. Kneel before me. Take this pill, and I will spare your lives. While they were talking, the old man took out two black pills. The young man's name was Tianxin. When he saw the pill, his face immediately changed. "Third Elder, from today onwards, I will follow your lead. I will be absolutely loyal to you, but this poison soul pill doesn't need to be consumed, does it? I swear to God, I will be loyal to you." His chest was still pierced with arrows. Initially, he had an arrogant expression, but now he instantly kneeled on the ground and begged for mercy. The old man laughed coldly. "Since you are loyal to me, you should consume this poison. I will give you the antidote as soon as possible." Tianxin said, "Third Elder, why did you do this?" The old man said, "It's very simple. I also want to get the secret treasure of Long Clan. I have been in the Tian family for so many years, yet I have not obtained anything." As he spoke, his eyes couldn't help but look at the iron cage. His gaze was fixated on Long Fei, who was in the iron cage. With excitement in his eyes, Long Fei's heart trembled. Could it be that he knows my identity? Almost all of the powerhouse present wanted to take control of Long Fei and be the first one to obtain the secret treasure of Long Clan. The third elder was no exception. It could be said, he had been waiting for an opportunity all these years. Now the chance had come. Tianxin said, "Third elder, the secret treasure of Long Clan is the target of the patriarch. If you come here to get rid of us, you probably won't get the secret treasure of Long Clan either." The third elder sneered, "I won't be able to kill you, but..." He looked up. Once again locking on a Long Fei, he said, "If I obtain him, then I have gained the secret treasure of Long Clan." Everyone looked at Xiang Long Fei. Tianxin laughed coldly and said, "Him? He's just a slave, and getting him is equivalent to getting the secret treasure of Long Clan. Third elder, are you sure you're not crazy?" The third elder did not expose him. Instead, he looked at Long Fei with incomparable seriousness, and the excitement in his eyes became more and more intense the more he looked at him. Tianxin was shocked, saying, "He is the son of the prophet, Is it Long Fei?" As soon as he finished, Tianxin was also shocked. Long Fei's heart went cold. "Damn, so you are here for me, my ass. Ancestor, can you hurry up? These fellows are after me." Long Fei was panicking inwardly. His hands and feet were bound, his strength restricted, and he felt like he was a fish on a chopping block, waiting to be slaughtered. "That won't do. Third elder, you must be mistaken. How could Long Fei appear in the savage domain?" Tianxin didn't understand either. However, her instincts told her the man in the iron cage was Long Fei. The third elder slowly walked to the side of the iron cage and looked at Long Fei. "As long as you consume this pellet, I will grant you your freedom. Also, I will bring you to find this dragon tail tomb. Is this why you came to the savage domain?" It was as if he could see through Long Fei. The third elder laughed sinisterly and said, "Long Fei, am I right?" Long Fei's mouth hooked up as he laughed. "I'm curious. How did you know my identity? How do you know my purpose? I have been keeping an eye on you in the immortal domain, so I know everything that happened in the God Emperor city a few days ago. There is only one reason why you suddenly disappeared, and you suddenly appeared in the savage domain. You also won the power of the dragon's tail, open dragon domain. You really want to take revenge, fight the palace question of God, right? Join hands with me and I will clear all obstacles for you. As long as you consume this pill, nothing will be a problem. The third elder was extremely confident. He was Long Fei's only choice. Long Fei's fate was in his hands. However, Long Fei had never liked others threatening him. What's more, he was even threatened by a boss. Chapter 1040, Barbarian King, 5-second True Man. Chapter 1040, Barbarian King, 5-second True Man. Third Elder Boss. Moreover, there was even a hint of a light purple golden light on his body. Violet Light Boss. Long Fei became excited and said, "What if I say no?" The third elder teasingly said, "It doesn't matter. You're already bound by the Luo Ling net. If you don't eat it, I can force the pill into your mouth. It's just that your methods are a bit more barbaric." "It seems like you're sure of me," Long Fei said. The third elder said, "Of course. Long Fei, you don't have a choice. I am your only choice. In this world, perhaps only I know the position of the Dragon Tail Tomb. As long as you consume this medicinal pill, I'll take you to find it." Long Fei asked in his heart, "Ancestor, how much longer do we have to wait?" Yan Huang Ancestor said, "There's still a little more time. Just a little." He had to break through the shackles of Luo Ling, taking advantage of the unguarded situation. Long Fei pretended to ponder for a moment and said, "Seems like I don't have a choice." The third elder laughed complacently. "You are a smart person. You should know how to choose. Long Fei, we are the only ones who can cooperate in Open Dragon Domain, and I have ways to save your family in Nantian region." Huff! Clenching his fists under his sleeves, Long Fei bit his teeth. "Seems like the people from the Savage Domain have moved me to join them. These evolved people." Long Fei's heart sank, looked at the third elder and said, "I promise you, but before that, I want you to do something for me." The third elder said, "Speak." Long Fei stared at Tian Xian and said, "Kill him." Tian Xian's gaze froze for a moment before he immediately said angrily, "Brat, you F***king want to die, don't you?" The third elder shot a glance at Tian Xian from the corner of his eyes. Tian Xian immediately knelt on the ground. "Third uncle, I am your nephew. You wouldn't really kill me for an outsider, would you?" His identity was very special. However, in order to obtain Long Fei, he could sacrifice everything. The third elder coldly said, "My good nephew, please let your third uncle suffer for your sake. Kill him." And then, two black, clothed men walked up, releasing a strong aura from their bodies, directly blocking the sky profound. Tian Xian was so scared that his entire body was trembling, and he said, "Third uncle, don't kill me, don't kill me, senior sister, save me, save me." In front of an ordinary martial artist, he was extremely arrogant. But in front of these people, why did his little cultivation not count? The sword in Tian Xing's hand moved, and his body descended, blocking the path of the two men. He said, "Third elder, I'm afraid that what you're doing isn't good." The third elder sneered, "If people don't take themselves seriously, then what is a nephew? Even if he were my own son, I would not put him in my eyes. Tianxin, you still have a choice. When the time comes." He controlled everything. Tian Xing's gaze hardened as he said, "Tian clan's plan cannot be ruined by you. Third elder, please forgive us." As soon as he finished, the sword in Tianxin's hand moved, a golden light flashed, and the might of an ancient holy artifact was released. At the same time, the white tiger beside her also became angry. Roar! There was also a set of golden armor on his body. Tianxin made his move. The corners of the third elder's mouth turned cold. "You overestimate yourself. Kill them all. Leave none alive." Over 30 black warrioress moved at the same time. At the same time, Tian Xian let out a loud shout and summoned the barbarian Wolf King. He stepped forward and shouted loudly, swift as the wind, "Pass through." Roar! The barbarian Wolf King roared as it charged into the air. The third elder's eyes widened. Don't let him escape. He didn't have any other abilities in the Sky Profound realm, so he was first class in terms of escaping. Moreover, this savage Wolf King had a special type of sacred art, but its speed was extremely fast, so fast that it could pierce through the void. Swish! The shadow of the wolf disappeared. The third elder's expression changed as he stared at Tian Xing. Die! Boom! He took a step forward. His palms were like thunder, not giving Heavenly Star any chance to retaliate. He directly sent her flying. Without waiting for her to land, he quickly threw his fists. Bang, bang, bang. Tian Xing spat out a mouthful of blood. Boom! The two fists struck the Sky Star on the side of the cage. The armor on his chest split open, and two balls of white flesh seemed to rush out. At this moment, Tianxin's face was deathly pale. When she was sent flying, everyone in Tianxin's squad, with the exception of the fleeing Tianxian, was killed. The third elder was enraged and said, "Chase after him. You must kill him before the savage city arrives." Over 30 men in black rushed into the darkness. At this moment, the third elder turned around to the side of the cage and grabbed the dying Tian Xing. "I originally wanted to leave you with your dog life, but you don't know how to treasure it." The White Tiger's daughter. Humph! The third elder clutched at Tian Xing's throat as he slowly flew into the air. Die! In this instant, Yan Huang Ancestor sent a message. Long Fei unlocked. Shua! Void Walk. Long Fei instantly erupted and directly used Cassidon's ability to break out of the cage and land behind the third elder's back. He roared in his heart, Super Scion, third level evolution. Boom! Blonde hair shot up into the sky. Golden energy and flames crazily ignited. Long Fei directly held onto the sky-burning dragon gun in his hand, and it moved, 9th level unparalleled, open. Burning heaven, explode with your strength. Buzz. A buzzing sound came out from the spear body, under Super Scion mode, and then fused with the insta-kill move spirit of the Yuan Long. Long Fei merged all of his power into it. He shouted, "Super Yuan Long has no god. Die!" Long Fei held onto the dragon's spear and struck with all his might. The third elder disdainfully said, "With just you, Long Fei, I am very clear of your strength. You can't kill me with your strength." However, before he could finish his words, the divine power of the Yuan Long pierced into the body of another person. That kind of power which was neither life nor death. That destructive power caused an incomparable impact within his body, even if she was an evolved person from the first generation. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for instantly killing him. When his HP fell, so did his blood. Instantly, his eyes were filled with disbelief. He was very clear about Long Fei's strength. His strength could be compared to the flying fairyland. But why was he instantly killed? I don't understand. Yuan Long God Spear art possesses destructive power. If they don't die, then they die. It had the chance to cause an instant kill. Long Fei was also stunned. He said excitedly, "Damn, an instant kill." Also at this moment, Long Fei's heart tightened, and he immediately said, "Release the striking energy value." Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing third elder of Tian family, for obtaining 800,000 experience, 120,000 power celestial points, and 10 energy values points. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Luo Ling Net. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining Gold Sun Sword. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining the Desolate Stone. Ding! Congratulations player Long Fei for defeating third elder of Tian family to obtain a special reward from a system. The reward item is the Barbarian King Call card, S piece by piece. Long Fei was stunned. A real 5 seconds man Barbarian King. Chapter 1041. Long Fei lost his body. Chapter 1041. Long Fei lost his body the moment the system beep ended. Long Fei was stupefied. He could never have imagined that happiness would come so suddenly. However, and this is not the end, the system sounded out once again. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining a special reward. The reward is a Saint rank skill, Barbarian King Bash. Do you want to cultivate it? Reward of the Barbarian King card. This was only a reward. At the same time, Long Fei also received a special reward, which was that he had obtained the Barbarian King skill, a 5-second real man, an immortal, indestructible existence. Long Fei was stunned in place as he muttered, damn it, system. I'm going to love you to death. Why are you so awesome? The idea moved, afraid that the Barbarian King crash would disappear, and said, cultivate. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for training Barbarian King Blast for obtaining 1,000 experience points, 1,000 power of celestial, and 1,000 special reward points. Cultivation method, rushing Barbarian King grade, Saint rank level, 0/1000 description, undying, indestructible description 2, duration, 60 seconds. The higher the level of the technique, the longer the duration. Oh my god, a real man in 5 seconds is nothing. I only need 60 seconds to set the limit. Amazing, amazing, truly amazing. Long Fei's blood started to boil, just like the whole world. With this skill, my fighting style will be even more perfect. To be more accurate, my fighting style and the Barbarian King's ultimate move have been perfectly combined. Long Fei was excited. He had always had a bad temper just because he couldn't accept it. In battle, he was even more desperate than Sanlang, and he wouldn't stop until he was dead. With the Barbarian King's big move as a safeguard, he would be able to unleash his best fighting techniques. Long Fei smirked as he thought to himself, just you wait. Guton Tian, you mother of asterisk cur, just wait there after I wash your ass clean. 5 billion HP, right? I won't kill you. It was also at this time. Yin Huang Ancestor warned as he said, she's dying. Long Fei quickly calmed down from his excitement. Looking at the dying Tian Xing, he said in his heart, she can't die. I still need to find out about the Nantian region through her. Ancestor, is there any way to save her? Long Fei did not have any healing pellets on him. Moreover, Long Fei had to save Tianxin. The purpose of the Heavenly Star arrest was to send him to the Nantian region. They could only find out through her, so Long Fei didn't want her to die. Long Fei looked at the powerhouse in the iron cage and asked, which one of you has a healing pellet? They all shook their heads. Those who had looked down on Long Fei just now all became upright, their faces filled with fear, as if they were extremely afraid of Long Fei. They were very clear about what was happening in the God Emperor's city. The Magic Tribe's army had been destroyed, and the God Emperor's city had turned into a pile of ruins. All of these were done by Long Fei himself. Long Fei was like a demon. Therefore, they were afraid. Seeing that they were all so scared, Long Fei did not ask any further. He took out the Dragon Salyer S, activated the power of Celestial, and slashed. Crash! The iron cage shattered as Long Fei said, run for your life. Don't ever come back to the savage domain again. And then, Long Fei carried his heavenly star and flew in the other direction. He became gloomy and asked, Ancestor, didn't you have a lot of ideas in the past? Isn't it just saving someone? How could you not? Yin Huang Ancestor slightly said, there is a way, and it's the simplest, fastest, and most crude way. It depends on whether you are willing to or not. Long Fei said anxiously, what are you talking about? What else are you willing to say? Hurry up and say it. Yin Huang Ancestor said, body fusion. What? Long Fei was a little confused. What do you mean by body fusion? The Yin Huang Ancestor said, the devouring vein I refined for you can swallow power, blood vein S, fuse with it, release it, and at the same time, it can also absorb damage. If you can enter her body and use the devouring vein's power, you can help her absorb the injuries in her body. This is the fastest way and the only way to do it. Brat, I'll let you take advantage of me. Long Fei was stunned. He had never thought that it would be this way. He probed with a question, Ancestor, are you playing with me? Cough, cough, cough. Kid, it's fine if you don't believe me. How could I lie to you? Besides, this does not harm you in the slightest. You will only take advantage of her. This woman must have a good appearance, body, and figure. She is truly a beauty. Yin Huang ancestor huffed and puffed as he said in his heart, "This is all for your own good." However, he did not finish his sentence. Yin Huang ancestor tried to agitate him. "I've already said the way to save you or not. It's up to you. All right, I'm going to go into closed-door cultivation. Don't disturb me if there's nothing else. Let me remind you, this woman still has 2 hours to live." Finished. Yin Huang ancestor had completely disappeared from Long Fei's body. Long Fei looked at the heavenly star in his arms. Indeed, the Yin Huang ancestor was right. He had to look good, have a chest, a body, fair skin, long legs, and he had to be a knight. The 3-point armor had been shattered from the chest and was located in the insides of his 2 long legs. Gudong. Long Fei did not dare to think further. Looking at the forest in the distance, he clenched his fists and thought to himself, "All right." With flying footsteps, he quickly rushed into the small forest. He entered her sea of consciousness, not caring if she could hear him or not, and said, "I'm sorry. I was just trying to save you. If I didn't do that, you would have died. I'm sorry." Long Fei was not a good person, but he was not one of those evil people. Not to mention, this kind of thing, he liked it when both sides agreed to it. Only then would he be able to show his strengths. Gudong. Long Fei's Adam's apple rolled. He swallowed it dry and muttered in his heart, "My virgin body is finally going to break. Where should I start from?" In his previous life, he had learned a lot about all sorts of theoretical knowledge from action movies. He knew every stance and every routine. But when it came to his own practice, he was at a loss. Huff, huff, huff. "It's just a crack. I don't believe it's that hard." Long Fei's breathing hastened, his mind a blank as he said disdainfully to himself, "You bastard. Did you see those little movies in your previous life? It's too cowardly. You could just do whatever you want in the movies." Long Fei was struggling. He really did not know how to act. It was too difficult. He would rather fight against a few bosses. Time was running out. If he didn't hurry, Tianxing would really report to Yama. "I don't care." Long Fei looked at the heavenly star on the ground and then directly pressed it down. Chapter 1042 Disputes. Chapter 1042 Disputes. A long time passed, a long time passed. After a long while, the system suddenly sounded out a notification sound. "Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for swallowing white tiger blood vein. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for increasing the level of his devouring vein." A small bead of blood suddenly fell out of Long Fei's body, and at that moment, one of the devouring vein's level increase fell to the ground. Because, when he absorbed the high-level blood vein, it was completely devoured by Long Fei. At this time, the Yin Huang ancestor smiled and thought to himself, "Brat, this is where the devouring vein are the most powerful. The platform called God's Martial Continent is too small. I know that you will one day jump out. The Chaos Realm is your stage. That is the world where the blood vein is king. There's still hope. We'll definitely be able to shine in the Chaos Realm." Actually, Long Fei did not know that the reason that was formed was to prepare for Long Fei to enter the Chaos Realm. Devouring vein could not unleash much power in the God's Martial Continent. Entering the Chaos Realm was Long Fei's stage, and what the devouring vein displayed was. Before that, Long Fei's blood vein needed to be upgraded, so the easiest way to level up was to merge with a high-level blood veins woman. This was the fastest way. With the blood vein S level increase, Long Fei could clearly feel the strength in his body becoming stronger. At the same time, it was also at that instant that the power of primordial energy exploded from Long Fei's lower body. Ugh! Tianxin let out a delicate gasp as her cheeks flushed red. Her entire body couldn't help but tremble a few times as her body went limp. It was as if she had experienced an unparalleled war. He was extremely tired, but there was one thing. Compared to before, her breathing had become steady. Long Fei shouted in his heart, "Ancestor, come out right now." Yin Huang ancestor smiled. "Brat, how do you feel?" "It must be great, ha ha ha. It feels great." "Huh, ancestor, what do you think I am?" "Even if I am worse than a beast, I still cannot take advantage of someone. To still be against someone who is on the verge of death. Isn't this way too much of a scam? Long Fei was a little angry in his heart. The old ancestor disdainfully said, "Brat, don't be so cheap and act so good. This is nothing at all. She's just a woman, and a man shouldn't be bothered by small matters. You're someone who does great things. In order to stand on high ground, you must learn to use any means possible." What is this? When you enter the chaos realm, you will understand that this sort of thing is not even considered trivial. Just a moment ago, you felt that your blood vein had leveled up, so you still need a lot of women like that. Yin Huang ancestor seemed to be provoked. God's martial continent is nothing at all. The chaos realm is a world where humans eat humans. If you do not bring the blood veiness up to the surface now, it would be difficult for you to find a foothold once you enter the chaos realm. Do you understand? Yin Huang ancestor said heavily. He watched as Long Fei grew, became stronger. He did not wish for Long Fei to be stepped on in chaos realm, and even so, it was difficult for him to have a foothold. The chaos realm was the truly dangerous place. If one was not careful, they would die without a burial ground. The blood vein must be raised first. A first-rank blood vein in the chaos realm was not even worth a fart. Long Fei was surprised. This was the first time he saw the Yin Huang ancestor angry. However, Long Fei said, "I have my principles. I am not a bulldozer. Not every woman will attend to me. Ancestor, if you have anything you want to tell me in advance, please do so." No matter what world, Long Fei would never give up on his principles. One needs the bottom line and the principle. It was the same for women. Long Fei was not some beast. Any female could challenge him. Yin Huang ancestor asked, "Principles? Do you know why the chaos realm calls it primal chaos? Because it is extremely chaotic, just like the world which was just opened. There are no principles to speak of in that place, and if you are not strong, you will be eaten. Kid, I know you have special abilities, unlike normal warriors, but you have to know, this is a world where one eats people. Also, look at her. Her face is rosy and her breathing is even. All the pain in her body has been completely swallowed by you. Did I lie to you?" The injuries on Tianxin's body disappeared. Yin Huang ancestor did not lie to him that he would wake up after a while. Long Fei went silent. "Long Fei, I know that you might not be able to accept this in your heart. After all, this woman hasn't even known you for a day, but you need to know that your time is too short. How are you going to face the palace question of God in less than 2 years? And how are you going to face the current savage domain? To become strong, we should use any means possible." Long Fei said, "I will become stronger, but not through this method. Ancestor, I know that you are doing this for my own good, but my path, I wish to walk by myself." Knew that the Yin Huang ancestor was kind to him. However, he could not accept such an arrangement. He needed to walk his own path, not follow others' arrangements. Yin Huang ancestor was silent for a while, then said, "I was too anxious." From a moment, Long Fei entered the savage domain to kill beasts and meet with the second generation of evolved humans. The Yin Huang ancestor had become restless. He was anxious. He really wanted to turn Long Fei into an invincible powerhouse. At the same time, he also wanted to return to the chaos realm sooner so that he could take revenge. The Yin Huang ancestor quieted down as he muttered in his heart, "I need to calm down and think about it carefully. I need to calm down. I need to calm down." Long Fei did not say any more. 10 minutes later, Tianxing slowly opened her eyes. In that instant, she flipped her body and stood up. She didn't seem to be injured at all. However, she took a deep breath as she regained her balance. Because of the distance, her crotch was in great pain, as if a wound was being torn. She was a virgin. The first time was naturally like this. Hiss! The idea felt the impact, and its lower body became red and swollen. The pain was extremely severe, and as it raised its eyes, a cold glint could be seen in them. Long Fei said as he looked at her, "Just now, I did not." Without waiting for Long Fei to finish speaking, Heavenly Star immediately interrupted him and said, "Nothing happened just now." Long Fei stared blankly and muttered, "So generous?" Buzz. The sword moved, directly pointing at Long Fei's throat, and said, "Say that again." The reason she said that was because she didn't want to think about those things. She could say that, but Long Fei couldn't. After all, this was a woman's chastity. Long Fei took a small step back and said, "Nothing happened, nothing happened. If you're willing, then I'm willing." Chapter 1043, Conquering the Sky Star. Chapter 1043, Conquering the Sky Star if women were willing. Then what else could he say? He put away his heavenly star sword and took a step forward. His feet trembled. His crotch was in so much pain that he could barely stand. Every step he took caused him to stagger forward. Long Fei was blaming himself a little. It was all his fault for being inexperienced. He was too preoccupied with himself just now, which was why the violent impact was able to cause such a thing. He said with good intentions, "I heard that this is the first time a woman is suffering so much pain. You should rest more." "You're still talking." Tian Xingwu glared, staring straight at Long Fei, his entire body shivering, as though he wanted to kill Long Fei. Long Fei said, "I am only reminding you to rest for a while before leaving." Tian Xing ignored them, walking out of the forest while enduring the pain. She was moving up and down, and it was unknown if it was because Long Fei used too much strength or some other reason, but she was bleeding profusely from her crotch. Seeing that, Long Fei immediately stopped her and said with a commanding tone, "You must rest now. It's none of your business." Tian Xingyi stared at Long Fei. However, Long Fei did not care about that. He just picked her up and said tyrannically, "You are now my woman. Why can't I care about you?" He forcefully hugged Skystar in his embrace. Skystar struggled as hard as he could, both fists fiercely smashing into Long Fei's chest. "Let me go, let me go, let me go." Tianxin roared, tears welling up in his eyes. Long Fei hugged her tighter and tighter, causing her chest to split from the heavenly star hammer, but he still did not let go. He tightly held her in his embrace until she was unable to move. Woo woo woo. Tianxin collapsed as well. Unable to hold on any longer, he began to bawl. Long Fei also let out a sigh of relief and thought to himself, "This kind of rhythm is more like it." No matter how strong a woman was, she was still a woman. She pretended to be strong even when her most precious thing was gone. How long could she last while gritting her teeth? Woo woo woo. The corners of her eyes looked towards Long Fei's side. Suddenly, she bit down, biting on a Long Fei's flesh, tried her best not to let out a cry. Long Fei took a deep breath. He did not let go, nor did he cry out in pain. Seeing her tears, thinking back to the way she walked just now, Long Fei's heart ached. Anyway, she was the first woman in Long Fei's true meaning. No matter what, Long Fei had to be responsible for what he did. A piece of meat was about to be bitten off. Long Fei did not show any expression of pain. Finally, Tianxin felt slightly relieved and stopped crying. She asked in a low voice, "Does it hurt?" "Pain. It hurts. However, being bitten by one's own woman is also a type of happiness. Many people wouldn't be able to hope for it." Long Fei looked at the quiet Tian Xing and asked, "Have you calmed down?" She looked at the man she had known for less than a day and said, "Can you let me down? I'll rest." Long Fei put down the heavenly star. Tianxin sat down with his back against the tree. His face was covered in tears. He closed his eyes and began to rest. Long Fei said, "Rest well here. I'll go find something to eat." Finished. Long Fei then went into the forest. Only after she confirmed that Long Fei had disappeared did she open her eyes. Looking in the direction Long Fei had disappeared in, the expression in her eyes was complicated, and her mind was a mess. However, she knew clearly in her heart that if not for Long Fei, she would have been killed by the third elder long ago. If not for Long Fei, she would already be dead. In fact, she was very clear about everything that had happened while she was unconscious. She had also heard the things that Long Fei had said in her sea of consciousness. It was just that he couldn't accept it for a while. Tianxin bit her lips lightly, clenched her fists, and stood up. A few seconds later, She sat back down. Tianxin escaped. The third elder's men went after them. From her understanding of the sky profound, if he were to successfully escape, she would definitely say that he had betrayed her and joined the third elder's camp. Savage City might not be able to return if he was killed. As the captain, it was hard to blame him for not protecting him. Master would definitely severely punish her. No matter what, I need to go back to the Savage City. The third elder definitely isn't alone. There's definitely someone behind him. Tianxin decided that Savage City must be in danger from all sides. But she had to go back. She still had something important in the Savage City. Long Fei entered the forest and did not let Tianxin go there alone. Instead, he had sent his ghost soldiers to guard it. After finding out that Tianxin didn't escape, he felt slightly relieved. Tianxin's reaction should mean that she accepted reality. Half an hour later, Long Fei walked out of the forest while carrying a cleaned-up wild beast and a few spirit grasses that were used for healing. Light the fire and set up the grill. Not long after, the wild beast's thigh meat released a burnt aroma, sprinkled with some salt and seasonings. The fragrance spread in all directions, evoking a worm in his stomach. Long Fei tore off a piece of meat and passed it to Tianxin, saying, "Taste it." After entering the immortal domain, Long Fei rarely grilled meat. As Tianxin looked at the oily and fragrant barbecue, she wanted to reject it, but her stomach growled as it betrayed her. He took the barbecue and gently tasted it. However, just because of this bite, she froze for a moment, then she started to wolf down her food. His mouth was covered in oil, making him look like a kitten. Long Fei said, "Take your time to eat. There's still a lot left. Don't burn them." Tianxin didn't even care. He didn't even have the time to talk as he continued to eat. During this period of time, Long Fei took out the green dragon tripod S to refine the few stalks of spirit grass S into high-rank healing pills and said, "This healing pill will be beneficial to your wound healing." Tianxin looked at Long Fei. His eyes were no longer as cold as before, but instead filled with a sense of being moved. Tianxin took the pill and said, "Don't think you can bribe me with a piece of roasted meat. Let me tell you, no, not yet. 3 meals of barbecue. No way. 10 meals, I need 10 meals." Long Fei looked at Tianxin and said, "You can have it for life." She was deeply moved by Long Fei's words, but she did not let them show her how touched she was. Because he was Long Fei. Because the people from the savage domain that had evolved, the people the Tian family had to deal with were Long Fei. As long as Long Fei was here, Long Fei would definitely die. At the thought of this, Skystar's eyes were full of tears. He could not control himself. Long Fei laughed. "How can you be so touched? It's just a barbecue. No matter how much you want to eat or how much I roast for you. It doesn't matter if you become a fat pig. I can afford it." Tianxin went silent. Half an hour later, after he finished eating the roast meat, Long Fei said lightly, "It's time to go back to business." Chapter 1044. I am your woman. Chapter 1044. I am your woman. You know my name, so you must know my identity. I want to know what happened in Nantian region. Do you know why the savage domain became like this? Can you tell me? Long Fei was very sincere. He really wanted to know. This was his main purpose in saving Tianxin. Tianxin looked at Long Fei, then said, "After you left, the Nantian region was controlled by the savage domain. Your family members, brothers, and those women were all controlled. As for why savage domain became like this, I believe you should also know one thing, that the savage domain's domain treasure, the transmission gate, was activated by one of the Chaos Realm's powerhouses. Then it became like this. People like us who have gone through evolution are all the slaves of that powerhouse. We can't even be considered slaves." Tianxin didn't hide anything. She told what she knew to Long Fei. Moreover, these were not some secret. Long Fei would find out sooner or later. Long Fei's heart trembled. A powerhouse from Chaos Realm? Your father cannot handle this. Now that there's a powerhouse from the Chaos Realm, I just want to know what kind of treasure is hidden in this world. Even Chaos Realm's powerhouse wants to obtain it? Long Fei was extremely unhappy. A single palace question of God had pressured him to the point where he couldn't breathe, and now an even stronger powerhouse had arrived as well. Very unhappy, Tianxing looked at Long Fei. Long Fei, you are not Savage Domain's match. As long as you are Open Dragon Domain, you and Nantian region, or even all of your relatives and friends in Immortal Domain, you'll be killed. The powerhouse is much stronger than the palace question of God. You must not enter the Open Dragon Domain. This is your only chance of survival. As long as they were not Open Dragon Domain, they were safe. Long Fei herself was safe, because he was the only person who was able to enter Open Dragon Domain. If he died, there would no longer be anyone in this world who was able to enter Open Dragon Domain. Thus, his life was very important. But what Tianxing did not know, and what most people did not know, was that there were still 2 years until the Dragon Clan calamity. If not for Open Dragon Domain, allowing the Dragon Ancestor to return to his position and obtaining a strong power from the Dragon Domain, Long Fei would not be able to withstand it. He would still be killed. The Open Dragon Domain was killed by the Tribulation. Open Dragon Domain was killed by Palace Question of God, Chaos Realm's powerhouse. There was no path to heaven, no door to hell. He was trying to force someone into a dead end. Long Fei raised his eyebrows, the corners of his mouth raised. He laughed lightly and said, "You all want the Dragon Domain's secret treasures, right? All right, I want to see what exactly is hidden in this Dragon Domain. Be it the powerhouse of the gods' martial continent or the powerhouse of the Chaos Realm, if they wanted to obtain the secret treasure of the Dragon Domain, it could only prove one thing. It must be extremely powerful, with the power to destroy the heavens and earth. In that case, then, if Long Fei gets it himself, nothing in the world can stop my advance. I, Long Fei, was born into this world to kill gods and Buddhas to kill Buddhas. If anyone tries to stop me, I will explode their chrysanthemum." Long Fei clenched his fists tightly, a sharp light flashing across his eyes. Skystar looked at Long Fei and felt that this man was very different, very special. Early morning, Tianxin moved slightly, and the pain disappeared. The idea moved, summoning the white tiger, and stepped onto it. At this moment, Long Fei leaped up and landed on the white tiger's back. Tianxin was startled, saying, "Quickly get down. The white tiger will get angry, and it will throw you away." When he was speaking, the white tiger did not have any violent emotions. It was not angry at all because Long Fei was sitting on its back, and it was very normal, very fast. This was the first time. Tianxin was stunned. "How can this be?" Long Fei laughed and said, "Perhaps it's because I'm so handsome." Long Fei had saved Tianxin. Saving her was equivalent to saving the white tiger. Then again, with the white tiger blood vein in Long Fei's body, it would be even less able to resist. Long Fei grabbed Tianxin's small waist, leaned close, and said in his ear, "Let's go." She was not as resistant to Long Fei as before, and she was even a little happy. However, Tianxin said sternly, "I want to meet Savage City. You cannot follow me. You must leave this place. Your appearance in Savage Domain is extremely dangerous. Master will definitely not let you off. She's definitely searching for you everywhere right now. Long Fei, listen to my advice and leave this place." If the sky profound fled, the matter of Long Fei appearing in Savage Domain would definitely be exposed. At that time, the Savage City Lord would definitely dispatch many powerhouses to apprehend Long Fei. If Long Fei followed her to the Savage City, it would be equivalent to walking into a trap. Long Fei said, "If you want me to not go to Savage City, that's fine. But if you come with me, I can't let you die." Tianxin was slightly moved. "I'll be fine. Don't say so much. White Tiger, go to Savage City." This time, Long Fei was determined to get the Savage Domain. With the change in the situation in the Savage Domain, and with everything targeting the Dragon Domain's secret treasure, he had to figure out even more. Is that the Dragon Tail Tomb is in a certain corner in the Savage Domain. If he wanted to find it, he would have to go deep into the heart of the Savage Domain. If I don't find the Dragon Tail Tomb, then I won't be able to find it. Tianxing wanted to control the white tiger, but he realized that the white tiger had stopped Long Fei and was running towards the savage city. It's too dangerous for you. It's too dangerous for you. I can't let my woman take the risk. I'm not your woman. What did you say? You are not my woman. Long Fei hugged Heavenstar's twin peaks and began to ravage them ruthlessly, saying, "Say it again. Do you believe I'll send a tiger out?" Tianxing was panting as she said, "Yes, yes. I am your woman. That's more like it. It's good to be like this earlier." Long Fei laughed sinisterly. "Do you want to shake the tiger a bit?" Tianxing blushed, not daring to answer. Once you have sex, she doesn't hate you and will fall in love with you very soon, which is one of the fastest ways to conquer a woman. In the distance, the yellow sand filled the sky. The afterglow of the setting sun imprinted the entire desert. The setting sun was like blood, incomparable red. It gave people a chilling feeling. The savage domain was the most dangerous place in the gods' martial continent. On the way, Tianxing leaned into Long Fei's embrace as Long Fei maneuvered the white tiger like a celestial couple. "Oh right, you haven't told me what you want to capture God's martial continent for yet? What escort?" Long Fei thought about this and asked. Tianxing said softly, "I'll ask you to escort 4 men. They just came out of Chaos Realm. Their evolution is complete. The energy in their bodies is very special, very strong. One of them actually has the physique of a ghost. I have never seen it before. The Chaos Realm values it very much. It seems it's your 4 great King Kong." Chapter 1045, The 4 Great Vajra. Chapter 1045, The 4 Great Vajra. Hearing this news, a huge buzzing sound filled Long Fei's brain, as if it was going to explode. The 4 Great Vajra. Li Yuanba, Heavenly Spirit. Lin Yusheng, Arhut. Long Fei clenched his fists tightly and shouted out, "White Tiger, increase your speed." More than 4 years. Long Fei missed his brothers so much. But they were captured and sent to the Chaos Realm to evolve, becoming evolved humans. What did he become? Long Fei felt as if he was weeping blood in his heart, and said solemnly, "I will kill whoever that dares to touch my brother." The white tiger roared, increased its speed, and dashed out crazily. Savage City, City Lord's Mansion. In an extremely luxurious courtyard, there was a veranda, pavilion, fake mountain, and flowing water. There was still some fear in Tianxin's eyes. Even after a whole day had passed, he still hadn't recovered from his fear. He said, "Father, we can't just let this matter go like this." Heaven, the leader of the Tian family, the first generation of evolved people, the top powerhouse. Heaven secretly locked the space between his brows and muttered, "This matter will definitely not end like this. But right now, the most important thing is to catch Long Fei." The third elder's betrayal was indeed important. However, all of these were within Heaven's expectations, and there was still someone behind the third elder. He was not the only one. His cultivation level alone was not enough to contend against him. However, the most important thing right now was not to clean up the clan and find Long Fei first. Only by controlling Long Fei could he take control of the situation. Otherwise, everything would be in a passive state, and even if he controls family now, it would be useless. There are many ways to control people in this world. Poison soul poison was one kind of poison. Once you consume the pill, even the flying fairyland's powerhouse would become like a dog begging for mercy in front of you. Heaven would always know when to do something. And then Heaven asked, "Are you sure you were attacked near the edge of the savage domain? How's Tianxin?" Tianxin said, "Father, if she had not died, she would have already betrayed the third elder. No one could stop the pain of the poison soul pill, and she definitely could not either." Report. Just then, a black armored guard walked into the courtyard. They were Heaven's most elite and most loyal guards. Heaven said, "Speak." The black armored guard said, "The third elder has been killed. Long Fei has disappeared, and his whereabouts are unknown. The great clan elder has not made a move." Tianxin was startled. The third elder was killed? How is this possible? His cultivation level has reached the flying fairyland. Who can kill him? Sky Profound was so shocked. Long Fei. Impossible. His hands and feet were bound by Luo Ling Nexus. His strength was restricted by the seal. He could not kill the third elder. Heaven's forehead also sunk secretly. However, this news was definitely good news for him because the third elder was killed and Long Fei was definitely not caught, so he did not need to be overconfident. Heaven immediately said, "Send out all the black-armored soldiers. Make sure to find Long Fei for me. Also, monitor the great clan elders' every move closely and report anything that happens to me immediately." "Yes, sir." The black-armored guard retreated. Heaven laughed excitedly and said, "Maybe the dragon domain opened earlier. If that's the case, then that powerhouse should give me even more rewards, right?" Tian Xian said, "Father, didn't Long Fei's for Great King Kong's evolution just complete? We can use them to attract Long Fei here, and Long Fei will definitely come for brother's sake." "Ha! Good idea." Heaven looked at the Sky Profound. His eyes had a hint of admiration in them as he said, "You handle this matter." Tian Xian excitedly said, "Your son will not let you down." Savage City, a secret corner. This was the prison of the Savage City. Security was also the most heavily guarded place in Savage City, even more so than the City Lord's mansion. There were 4 people locked up in a cage. Their 4 dull eyes were like the living dead as they stood silently in the corner. In the darkness, their appearances could not be clearly seen. No expression could be seen on their faces. However, every single one of them was emitting an aura of immense power. Aside from the aura of the evolved people, there was also the aura of a special power that had been released from their bodies. Suddenly, the dungeon door opened and a beam of light shone in. It struck right on their faces. Li Yuanba glared at Kong Kim angrily, like a malevolent Buddha in a temple. On his back, there was still an incomparably large sarcophagus, and the sound of metal striking metal could be heard. The sky spirit's eyes glowed with a green light like ghost fire. 3 water ripples faintly moved on Lin Yoshing's body. The blood-colored demon on the Arhut's head became even more ferocious, lowering its wand and emitting demonic flames, it was as though this weapon was possessed. 2 rows of black-armored elites opened the path. Tian Xian slowly walked into the dungeon with a special spiritual treasure in his hand. A bell. With a smirk, Tian Xian said, "Open the prison door." One of the guards blanked for a moment before replying, "Young master, these 4 people have very special powers. Their consciousness has not been completely brainwashed. Once it is opened, I fear that it will harm you." "Pa!" A slap landed on his face. Tian Xian shouted, "Since you know that I am the young master, then stop wasting your breath on me. I will open it once you open it. If you dare spout another word, I will kill you." The guard didn't dare to disobey and carefully opened the cage. The 4 of them did not move. Tian Xian walked up to the door, and with a cold smile, he said, "For puppies, how about you come out and take a walk?" The 4 of them still didn't understand. Tian Xian continued, "You're not coming out? Don't you want to meet your boss, Long Fei?" The word Long Fei was like a thunderbolt, instantly stimulating their minds. His mind stirred. Li Yuanba's enormous body took the initiative and stepped out. Boom! He did not walk through the door, but directly broke through the thigh-thick special black iron pillar. These black iron god pillars were like bubbles to him. 1 step forward. He instantly grabbed Tianxuan's neck with his hand as the veins on his arm bulged. Pure strength burst out of his body in loops and loops, crushing the space around him to the point that it seemed as if it would shatter the space around it. Unstoppable. He lifted Tian Xian up into the air like he was holding a little chick. It was incomparably terrifying. It was also at this moment. The black armored warrior S moved in unison, their 16 spears pointing at Li Yuanba's neck as they formed a circle. However, Li Yuanba didn't even spare him a glance as he stared fixedly at the profound sky continent. He was only angry, but he couldn't say a word. The more he thought about it, the more his head hurt. Tian Xian laughed coldly and shook the bell in his hand. Ding, ling, ling. Li Yuanba's face revealed a huge expression of pain. The same was true for the other three. They felt a splitting headache, as if an insect had drilled into their brains. It was extremely uncomfortable. "You dog! Let go!" The bell in Tian Xian's hand rang, causing Li Yuanba to be in so much pain that he wished he were dead. His body curled up, and he held his head with both of his hands, rolling on the ground in pain. All four of them were the same. "Ha ha!" Tian Xian laughed complacently, watching the mysterious iron god pillar get smashed into smithereens. He laughed even more fiercely. "Long Fei, look at your brother. He's like a dog now, ha ha." On a hillside, Tian Xing pointed at a big city not far away, then said, "In front of us is Savage City." Chapter 1046, Entering the City. Chapter 1046, Entering the City. Remember, once you enter the Savage City, you must listen to my orders. Tian Xing was a little worried. Along the way, Long Fei had already occupied a very important position in her heart. Obviously, she had fallen in love with this man. Because of the first time, Long Fei nodded his head and said, "Don't worry, even ghosts wouldn't be able to recognize me as Long Fei." Disguise. You could also call him makeup, but the current Long Fei was completely different. It was impossible to tell who he was. Long Fei's appearance had changed, but Tian Xing was still worried. The two of them walked into the Savage City. When the city guards saw Tian Xing, they immediately bowed respectfully. At the same time, a look of doubt appeared in their eyes. Tian Xing did not notice, but Long Fei had noticed it and thought, "It seems that fellow Tian Xian has escaped." A few minutes later, a black-armored warrior felt the city lord's mansion and reported to Heaven. "Clan leader, Tian Xing has returned." Heaven was startled. With the death of the third elder, he did not care about Tian Xing's life anymore, and suddenly returned. Heaven was silent for a moment, then said, "Who else is by her side?" The warrior replied, "An unfamiliar old man." Heaven repeated, "A strange old man? Could it be that this old man saved her?" "Tell this matter to Tian Xian." As long as it was not Long Fei, he was not interested. "Yes, sir." The black-armored warrior withdrew. After entering the city, the Heavenly Star Realm did not stop at all. The Lien family did not even turn back as he directly walked towards the city lord's mansion. In the dungeon. When Tian Xian heard the news that Tian Xian had returned to the city, his gaze turned sinister and the corner of his mouth curled up slightly. "Things are going to get interesting this time." Heh. He shook the bell in his hand and ordered, "You four, listen up." Li Yuanba and the other three people stood up. They were extremely spirited, and their eyes were filled with thick white light. When the bell rang, they were immediately controlled like zombies in a zombie movie. Tian Xian said, "Follow me to the city lord's mansion." "Kid, the guards in Savage City are all evolved people. The ordinary guards are all third-generation evolved people, and there are even some second-generation evolved people." Yin Huang ancestor was secretly shocked. Was it really the powerhouse who was crippled by such a huge force to establish such a powerful force in the savage domain? Long Fei's eyes flashed with a gold light and muttered, "These evolved people have too much experience. If I could kill them all, that would be great." Level 1. Within 2 years, it must be said that it would be extremely difficult for Long Fei to reach the flying fairyland. Right now, Long Fei had gained almost 2 billion experience from leveling up. It was simply too difficult. Even at the 8th or 9th level, the experience of a high-level demon beast wouldn't be enough to satisfy his leveling needs. Long Fei asked Tian Xing, saying in a low voice, "How many evolved people do you think there are?" The savage domain has changed a lot in the past few years. Basically, there are evolved people coming out of the portal every day. I don't know how many people to ask. Don't ask such questions in Savage City. The mayor's mansion is right in front of us. I'll go in later. Wait for me outside. Tianxin explained. Long Fei said, "You should be careful yourself." Tianxin felt warm in her heart and replied, "Yes." However, Tian Xing didn't take it to heart. She had a very high status in the Savage City and was the Patriarch's capable warrior. She would be fine no matter what. Long Fei sat down at a tea house opposite to the city lord's mansion, ordering a cup of tea and slowly drinking it. He kept thinking about things in his mind. Similarly, he was also waiting for news from the Yin Huang ancestor. After entering the savage city, Long Fei asked the Yin Huang ancestor to determine their location. Long Fei was sure that Li Yuanba and the others were definitely in the savage city. In the Sky Star, Long Fei sent out 500 of his soldiers to protect her. Even if she met with some trouble, she would still be able to escape unscathed. Because Tianxin is his woman, my woman naturally wouldn't let her fall into danger. The other 500 ghost soldiers were spread out in every corner of the savage city, quickly gathering intelligence. The strongest power of the Hell Core was unleashed. It was invisible, killing without a trace. And, most importantly, they were able to enter some places that Long Fei couldn't even enter. Everything had been arranged properly. Long Fei sipped on his tea and waited slowly. Patriarch, I'm back. Tianxin looked excited. After all, this was her home, and she had been personally raised by Heaven. It could be said that in her heart, Heaven was considered half a father to her. Heaven pretended to be happy and said, Tianxin, you're finally back. I'll send someone to look for you for the next few days. The third elder didn't do anything to you, right? She had already told me. Tianxin said, Patriarch, the third elder was killed by an expert, and that's why I escaped. I rushed back to inform you. You must be wary of the third elder's forces, and there's one more thing. Heaven said, go ahead. Tianxin said, I think the third elder still has someone backing him. Otherwise, with his strength, he wouldn't dare to fight you. Heaven pretended to be deep in thought and said, Tianxin, you can't say such nonsense. Yes, sir. Tianxin immediately lowered his head. This is just my guess. She had been thinking about this matter for the past few days. The third elder did not dare to openly oppose the patriarch. There must be someone backing him. At this time, Heaven asked, Tianxin, I heard you caught Long Fei this time? Where is he now? He's someone that the powerhouse wants by name. With him, we can take the initiative to take the initiative. Do you know where he is? Long Fei was the main point. Heaven did not want to get the answer from Heavenly Star. He merely asked in a testing manner. However, Tianxin went silent, a look of embarrassment in her eyes. This made Heaven's heart tremble, and he thought to himself, seems like she really has connections with Long Fei. That strange old man. Heaven's expression shook violently and was slightly excited in his heart. If it's really him, then, haha. And then, Heaven immediately transmitted to the black-armored warrior outside the room. She had never disobeyed Heaven's orders nor lied to him. But this time, Tianxin bit her lips and said, Disciple doesn't know. Her behavior had betrayed her. Heaven laughed. It's fine if you don't know. Since the Nantian region is already in our hands, there's no need to worry about Long Fei not appearing. Right. Where's the powerhouse that saved you? I want to thank him in person, Heaven asked. He has already left the savage domain, Tianxin said. Oh, if that's the case, then next time, Heaven laughed faintly. At this moment, a laugh came from outside. Ha ha ha, Heavenly Star Senior Sister, you're really back? Tianxin entered the city lord's mansion from the rear courtyard. Behind him were 4 people, the 4 great Vajra. Chapter 1047. Time to send you on your way. Chapter 1047. Time to send you on your way. Tianxin walked into the main hall. The 4 great king-level entities stood outside the house like 4 pieces of wood, not even daring to make the slightest movement. Without Tianxuan's order, they wouldn't move an inch. She had seen the 4 great Vajra before, so her heart secretly tensed up as she prayed. Long Fei, do not come in here, okay? In the tea house, 2 black armored warriors walked to Long Fei's side and said, Our city lord invites you. Long Fei did not reply, but immediately stood up. The 2 black armored warriors were surprised. Wasn't this Long Fei too cooperative? Long Fei immediately followed them into the city lord's mansion. In the dark, Long Fei's heart trembled. Something really happened. Earlier in the beginning, He had released a shadow clone and quietly observed the situation in the dark. With the heavenly star not appearing for a long time, Long Fei started to worry. Ancestor, are you still unable to sense their position? Long Fei asked again. Yin Huang Ancestor said, no, if they were in Savage City, I would be able to detect them even if they dug around 3 feet into the ground, unless their power has changed completely. His aura had completely changed, and even Yin Huang Ancestor couldn't feel it. Long Fei's heart tightened. He had originally wanted to take advantage of the time that his clone had wasted to finally Yuan Ba and the others, but now he could only enter the city lord's mansion. Long Fei held his breath and quietly moved. In the main hall, Tian Xian stared at Tian Xing and sneered. You really didn't take the poisoned soul pill. It seems like you really were saved by the master. Tian Xing was slightly displeased by Tian Xian's stare. Junior brother Tian Xian, what do you mean by this? Tian Xian asked. What do you mean? I think that master is Long Fei. Sky Star's eyes darkened and said, Long Fei is tied up by Luo Ling Nexus, so how can he save me from a cage? Junior brother Tian Xian, it's you. The third elder's words just made you kneel on the ground and beg for mercy. You have no backbone at all. Tian Xian's face changed. He felt pain from Tian Xing's words. His eyes turned sinister as he slapped Tian Xing. Who do you think you are? How dare you criticize me? Boom! Without moving, Tian Xing blocked Tian Xian's palm with one hand, saying, Junior brother Tian Xian, your cultivation is not enough yet. In terms of strength, she could easily crush Tian Xian. Tian Xian laughed coldly and said, Is that so? In his other hand, he held a bell, which rang. Swish! A dark shadow moved. The power of the dose moved. A palm struck out. Too fast. It was unbelievably fast, and there wasn't even time to react. Even Heaven's heart was slightly shaken, and he was overwhelmed with shock as he thought his heart. What a fast speed. Bam! Tianxin couldn't handle it all. He was sent flying by the force of a palm to his chest. He landed heavily on the ground, his face pale. Tian Xian laughed coldly. Senior sister of the heavenly star realm, do you think my strength is enough to see now? A palm fell. The sky spirit stood still and motionless. Tian Xian laughed complacently as he thought to himself, the 4 great King Kong are indeed extraordinary. Each of them possesses their own strength and unique characteristics. It's simply too refreshing. Who dares to be the best match for me in the future, controlling these 4 great King Kong? Tian Xing crawled up from the ground with blood hanging from the corner of his mouth. He looked at Tian Xian and said, This is the super warrior that the powerhouse had personally transformed and evolved. You dare to use it privately? Patriarch, don't you care about it? Indeed, this was a product personally modified by the powerhouse and was used to deal with Long Fei. Heaven frowned. He might not care about others, but that powerhouse, one of his idea, could take his life. Tian Xian replied, As long as you don't say anything, no one will know. You think I won't tell? At this moment, they were surrounded by Yin soldiers and warrior-s, unable to react to the previous move. They were caught unprepared, and also, the most crucial point, in the eyes of the heavenly spirits, they were not invisible. The physique of a sky spirit was very special. Not human, not ghost, not demon, not demon. He could see everything in this world that was unreal, and these ghost soldiers could not hide from him at all. Right now, he could only listen to Tianquan's orders. He would do whatever he wanted. Even if he found a lot of Yin soldiers, he would not say it out loud. At the same time, a shadow soldier quickly transmitted to Yin Huang Ancestor. Yin Huang Ancestor was startled and quickly explained the situation to Long Fei. Long Fei hurried over. Tian Xian laughed complacently. Why would a dead man speak? Heavenly Star, senior sister, you are already a dead man in my eyes. The space between Heaven's eyebrows tightened. He was slightly displeased with Tianquan's actions. Tian Xian said, Father, even the Lord of Chaos Realm wants to obtain the secret treasure of Long Clan. Could it be that you have never thought of possessing it yourself? The Chaos Realm is so powerful. The things he wants are definitely extraordinary. If you were to obtain it, then you will definitely become the #1 person in the gods' martial continent, or even the #1 person in the chaos realm. And the Lord is restricted by the power of the ancient code. He cannot enter the gods' martial continent at all. As long as we smash transmission gate, he is nothing. In the past, Tianxian didn't dare to think of this. However, when he witnessed the power of the 4 great king-level beasts, his ambition grew infinitely larger. He had already thought of a plan to deal with the powerhouse in the Chaos Realm. As long as he could destroy the transmission gate and break the link with the Chaos Realm, then no one would be able to control them. Thinking about that, Tianxian could not help but become excited. What is the palace question of God? So what if the Western Desel territory is worth? What if the Dark Domain's Qianji city is worth it? All of them will be stepped on by us, and then Father will be the supreme ruler of the gods' martial continent. The scene was incomparably beautiful. It was so beautiful that even heaven was moved. With the current strength of the Savage Domain, he could really go head-to-head with the Palace Question of God, Western Desel Territory, and the Dark Domain. Heaven was moved. He closed his eyes slightly. This could be considered a form of acquiescence. The corner of his mouth revealed a pleased smile, and he said, "Senior sister, it's time to send you on your way." Ding-ling-ling. With the shake of the bell, a bright light flashed across Li Yuanba's eyes. Both of his fists exploded, and a powerful force pressed down from the sky, striking towards Tianxing. The 500 ghost soldiers stood up and moved. He used all his strength to resist the attack. Buzz! An explosion sounded in the sky. Next, the 500 ghost soldiers were immediately flung out. 500 of them. Each one of them was at the Yuan Xian realm, but they could not even withstand a single punch from Li Yuanba. How powerful was he? Tianxin stood dumbly on the spot, unable to respond. At this moment, a black-armored warrior said, "Patriarch, the old man has arrived." Tianxian's gaze darkened. The bell in his hand rang, causing Li Yuanba to retract his power and stand quietly on the spot. Seeing Long Fei's avatar, Tianxian laughed proudly. "Dog, you're finally here." Chapter 1048. Long Fei against the 4 Great Vajra. Chapter 1048. Long Fei against the 4 Great Vajra. If not for the appearance of Long Fei's clone, Tianxian would not have ordered Li Yuanba to stop. "Stop pretending." Long Fei. Tianxian looked at Long Fei, who looked like an old man with interest, and said with an icy smile, "I said it before, your life is mine." Long Fei stood in place without saying a word. His clone hadn't reached that level yet. Heaven said slightly, "Xin'er, are you that sure that he is Long Fei?" Tianxian said, "Whether or not Long Fei wants to try it is known." "I'm sorry, senior sister." Tianxian sneered, and suddenly shook the bell in his hand as he commanded, "Li Yuanba, do it." At this moment, shua, a golden light flashed, and a powerful force came crushing down from the sky. He didn't give Tianxian any chance to react. A slash. Bam! The strength of this strike was extremely perverse. It directly cut off one of Tianquan's hands and sent it flying. With a flash of golden light, it directly caught the bell that was controlled. Tianxian howled like a pig being butchered, blood spewing out from his mouth. He trembled in pain and screamed. He sheathed his wild saber. Long Fei landed, looked at the 4 of them, and looked at the bell in his hand. Li Yuanba also stopped moving. "Yuanba, heavenly spirit, Lin Yusheng Arhut." Long Fei looked at the lifeless eyes of the 4 of them, as though they were zombies, and felt extremely uncomfortable in his heart. The anger in his heart was intertwining frantically with killing intent. The murderous power within his mind surged. He was enraged. Tianxian stared at Long Fei, his eyes bloodshot. "Long Fei." Tianxian was also stunned. "You shouldn't have come." Long Fei said in a deep voice, "If I didn't come, you would be dead now. To touch my woman, and even touch my brother, huff huff." Long Fei was like a fire dragon now, his breath bringing blazing hot flames. He was infuriated to the extreme. The eyes of Li Yuanba and the other three were slightly startled, because they had a unique memory of Long Fei's voice in their mind, and it was very special, causing them to tremble slightly. Tian Xin consumed a blood coagulation pellet and quickly said to Heaven, "Father, he is Long Fei." The corners of Heaven's mouth curled up as he said with a cold smile, "Coming to my doorstep myself, it really saves me a lot of trouble." Not waiting for him to finish, the dragon sallier on Long Fei's shoulder moved again. Shua! A saber strike struck at Tian Xin. "You're the one that touched my brother and killed my woman, right?" Tian Xin was so frightened that his face darkened. He instantly summoned the barbarian Wolf King. He did not think of anything else and wanted to escape, but the moment he summoned out the barbarian Wolf King, the power in Long Fei's hands sank as he roared, "Die!" Buzz! A loud sound rang out in the air. Yin Huang ancestor shouted, "Long Fei, be careful!" Without waiting for Long Fei's strength to fall, a powerful force came crushing from his chest. Boom! His chest exploded. Powerful energy was like a huge electric net, sealing off all the energy flowing through his body from his chest to his entire body. Long Fei was instantly sent flying. Boom! He smashed one of the walls of the courtyard into ruins. Tian Xin immediately became proud. "Haha, what am I running for? I forgot that this is my home. Do I even need to run? Kid, is this great?" Heaven fell from the sky and slowly landed, saying, "Long Fei, you only have one path to take. Help my open dragon domain. I will let go of your family and forgive your brother if not. Today, I will let them die, tragically one by one in front of you." Boom! Ruins exploded, and the energy on Long Fei's body burned. Super Saiyan mode. A strong force directly carried him, flying up into the air, and looking at Heaven, he said, "Do you know the consequences of messing with my family?" Heaven said, "Consequences? With your current appearance, what qualifications do you have to talk to me about the consequences?" "My consequence is that I want to tell you that you can only survive if you cooperate with me." Very arrogant, very disdainful. Tian Xin also laughed complacently. "You dog, obediently staying in my Tian family, you can live for a few more years. Otherwise, today, you will turn into a dead dog, huh?" Tian Xing reminded, "Long Fei, don't be rash. Heaven's cultivation was truly too strong." The first generation was also the first to evolve. He was the one who had opened the transmission gate and replaced the Lei family's position in Savage Domain. In just 3 short years, his cultivation had already reached the flying immortal peak realm, and he was not one bit inferior to Gutong Tian. Moreover, this was the second generation of countless Savage City, the third generation evolved human. How could Long Fei be a match for this? Tian Xin said, "Tian Xin, so you really do have a relationship with this slut? Then all the more reason for you to die." "Finished," Tian Xin shouted. "Where is the black armored warrior?" Hundreds of black armored warriors used in the courtyard rushed towards Tianxing. The long sword in Tianxing's hand moved, but they did not stop. Without waiting for her to make a move, Long Fei's body moved. 1,000 blessings sect. Boom! He sent a black armored warrior flying, and the idea ordered, Soldier warrior, listen up, bring Tian Xing out of Savage City." "Yes, sir." Hundreds of ghost soldiers instantly jumped out of the city lord's mansion at the speed of light. And it happened all of a sudden, without any time to react at all. Sky Profound's gaze tensed up and said, "You want to escape from Savage City? You guys can't escape even if you have wings today. Dad, we can't let that bitch escape. We can't let her get the news out." Tian Xin shouted. If those ambitious words he said earlier were to be found out by the Chaos Realm, then they would have been instantly killed. He absolutely could not let that powerhouse know. Heaven also understood in his heart and said faintly, "Black Armored Army, listen up, chase after the entire city." The black armored warrior in the courtyard quickly retreated. He chased after Tianxin. Tian Xin glanced at Long Fei and said with great interest, "Father, when Long Fei meets with his brothers, they should properly reminisce." Tian Xian laughed complacently. Long Fei, your four great Vajra body has been remodeled, and it has become different from before. It used to be like a pile of shit. They are our Tian family's four dogs? Ha! Do you think I can't control them just because you broke the bell? The sky profound idea moved, took out a bell from the space ring, and said, I still have some, huh? You four attack. The bell rang, and a red light flashed across the four people's eyes. They all landed in front of Long Fei. They looked at Long Fei, their eyes filled with killing intent. Long Fei looked at the four of them, the four brothers and the four great King Kong, but they were being controlled now. I'm really sorry. Tian Xian laughed complacently. Ha ha ha. Apologize? If apologies are useful, then what else do you need me to do? Kill them all. Chapter 1049. Li Yuanba awakened. Chapter 1049. Li Yuanba awakened. As soon as he finished, Li Yuanba and the other two moved at the same time and took a step. The four figures dodged and immediately surrounded Long Fei in the middle. Buzz! With a burst of power on Li Yuanba's body, with a body that was more than 2 meters tall, coupled with the big size of his muscles, his entire body was covered with his strength stripes that could be seen with the naked eye. Powerful to the point of explosion, his fist struck towards Long Fei. The power of the dose of the heavenly spirit was like the descent of hell. The power of water on Lin Yoshing's body was like an enormous wave smashing onto him. Arhat's holy Buddha gravity, devil's power intertwined together and blasted Long Fei with all of his strength. 4. For powerful energies descended at the same time. Long Fei did not resist. He didn't try to block it either. Long Fei, they aren't your brothers right now. They're just puppets. If you don't retaliate, you will be beaten to death. Boom, 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 boom. The power exploded on Long Fei's body. Long Fei did not retaliate, nor did he retaliate. Yuan Ba, it's me. I'm Long Fei, your boss. Long Fei spat out a mouthful of blood, then looked at Tian Ling and said, Tian Ling, don't you remember me? Lin Yusheng, are you gay now? Arhot, don't you remember me? Don't you remember me? Long Fei said one sentence after another. Their powers were very strong. So strong that if it wasn't for the protection of the power of the Golden Dragon Protector and the Yin Huang Ancestor, Long Fei would have been killed instantly. But even so, Long Fei's health point was still declining rapidly. Haha, this is great. You won't retaliate when you see your former brothers? Since you don't want to retaliate, then give me a good beating. Sky Profound was arrogant to the extreme and was exceptionally excited. The power of the four great Vajra had once again exceeded his expectations. The four of them had exploded with power comparable to a powerhouse of the flying fairyland. Heaven was also stunned, and she gave a faint reminder, Shinner, Long Fei's life is very important. Long Fei was the only one who could open the dragon domain. He did not want Long Fei to die, just like that. Tian Xian smiled. Father, don't worry. I know what I'm doing. Fight! Hit him hard for me. The four great King Kong rushed forward again, exploding with power and crazily attacking Long Fei. However, Long Fei still did not resist at all, allowing the four to attack. No matter how much pain, Long Fei didn't want to attack his brother. Be they puppets or be controlled, Long Fei did not want to make a move on them, because Long Fei owed a lot in his heart. If it wasn't for the fact that he left for a few years and knew that they didn't come and didn't go back to visit them, this wouldn't have happened if he had gone back earlier. But how could Long Fei not want to go back? He thought about them almost every night, but he couldn't go back. He couldn't leave. Kid, if you continue like this, you'll really die. Boss, my defensive power is about to collapse. Boss, let's do it from the back, shall we? They don't treat you as their boss at all. They aren't your brothers at all, so go back. If this goes on, you'll be killed. The other dragon patriarchs shouted out loudly. The power of the Golden Dragon Protector was collapsing. The power of the Yin Huang Ancestor was also on the verge of collapsing. After evolving, the power of the four Vajra bodies were too strong. However, this was still not their ultimate strength. Long Fei and the idea kept trying to enter their sea of consciousness, but every time they were forced out by a strong force, they were unable to do so. Just say it again and again. Yuan Ba. Do you still remember Xinjin sect? Do you still remember why your name is Li Yuan Ba? Tianling. Do you remember killing the king of hell? Do you remember what your mother said? Lin Yusheng. Have you forgotten what happened in Yuling Island? Arhot. Do you remember who told you to throw off your restraints and fall into the path of evil? All of you wake up. Yuan Ba, wake up. Long Fei said word by word. He really couldn't find a way. He really didn't know how to help them break free from the shackles of their memories. Even if he were to break the other sky profound bell, he would still have the other one. None of this is the point. The point was, even if no one controlled them, they still wouldn't be able to recover. Yin Huang ancestors said, their consciousness has already been sealed. Long Fei, you won't be able to wake them up. Feel like it's a counterattack. My power is also going to end soon. The power of the Golden Dragon Protector had already collapsed. He couldn't withstand the impact of the 4 Great King-level powers. Long Fei's health point was rapidly decreasing, but he did not give up. He kept talking. Li Yuanba was his brother, the head of the 8 King Kong. He was an extremely clear brother, and a Xian Shun sarcophagus on his body meant that he remembered her. He hadn't completely lost his spiritual consciousness. Yuanba, Long Fei roared. His fist was flung out, causing a part of the courtyard to collapse. He was buried inside the ruins. Ha! Long Fei, you dog. Weren't you very arrogant in the desert? No matter how arrogant he is, ha-ha. How'd it feel to be beaten up by your own brother? It must be really good, ha-ha. Tianxin laughed complacently. Heaven also had a proud smile on his face. He kept his attention on Long Fei's vital signs. He would not let Long Fei die, but Yi Zichen should have taught him a lesson before this. If Yi Zichen wanted to let him know that he wanted to live, then he would listen to him. Heaven took out a poisoned soul pill, threw it on the ground, and said, Long Fei, as long as you swallow this pill, I will forgive you, and I will also spare your Nantian region's family members. Boom! The ruins exploded, and Long Fei roared, F***K your ancestors. The corners of Heaven's eyes turned sinister as he coldly snorted, Shameless. Tianxian said, Then beat me up again, and beat him up like a dead dog. The bell rang, and the 4 once again charged forward. At this moment, the Yin Huang ancestors' defensive power had also collapsed. Long Fei's face was covered in blood, and his eyes were filled with incomparable pain. Watching the 4 of them walk in step by step, tears flowed down from the corners of his eyes as he said, Do you really not remember anything? Have you really forgotten everything? Long Fei was furious. He flew into the sky and shouted, I'm your boss. The sound was earth-shaking. It resounded throughout the entire savage city. Tianxian laughed out loud and said, Now you're a dead dog. Long Fei, now you're a dead dog, huh? Smash him down. The moment Tianxian finished speaking, the 4 of them did not immediately move. Li Yuanba seemed to have been shocked by Long Fei's voice just now, as he looked at the unfamiliar and familiar Long Fei and muttered, Boss. Suddenly, Li Yuanba's consciousness had been destroyed by a giant's power. Li Yuanba's eyes returned to normal as he looked at Long Fei. His expression became excited. Boss. Chapter 1050 Explosion. Chapter 1050 Explosion. It had awakened. With his spiritual consciousness breaking through, Li Yuanba was the first to awaken. Looking at the bloodied Long Fei, Li Yuanba was ecstatic and said, Boss, is it really you? Is it really you? His voice was trembling. Li Yuanba was like a little boy, tears flowing down her face. Is it really you, boss? Is it really you? He kept talking. The excitement could not be described with any words. Seeing Long Fei's face covered in blood, Li Yuanba asked in pain, Who beat you into this state? Tell me, I'll kill him. Long Fei laughed, laughing incomparably happily, laughing as though he was an idiot. He looked at Li Yuanba and shook his head. No. At this moment, Tianxian panicked a little as the bell in his hand shook nonstop. What are you all still standing there for? Go kill him, kill this Long Fei dog. Li Yuanba's spirit consciousness had broken through the shackles as he completely awakened. They were completely out of control, but the other three were not. Their spiritual awareness was also unceasingly breaking through the shackles, and had yet to break through it. During this battle, the effects of Tianquan's orders weren't particularly strong. Now, it was as if their brains had been implanted with a string of wrong codes. It was a complete mess, and they were at a loss of what to do. Didn't I tell you to kill him? You want to disobey my orders? Tianxin shouted out loudly. At this moment, Li Yuanba turned and stared at the sky profound realm bell in his hand, and asked solemnly, "Who do you want to kill? Kill my big brother?" Then, Long Fei's entire body was injured, and he said, "You were the one who controlled us earlier and made us attack boss. Your grandmother's breasts and legs. Make a move on my boss. F*CKU. As soon as he finished, Li Yuanba made a grabbing motion with his hands and heavily roared, "Raging thunder, attack." Boom, boom. A pair of hammers made by Long Fei flashed out from thin air. When Li Yuanba held them in his hands, his entire body instantly became bewitched as thick devil flames crazily burned within. Moreover, his entire body was covered in lightning. This was the lightning and thunder that came from the clash of his powers, causing his powers to surge violently. "Kill my boss," Li Yuanba roared, his body vanishing as the void appeared before him. "Your ancestors in the future." In that instant, a loud sound echoed in the sky as the strength of the blood vein of the Titan god exploded forth. A stream of pure, giant energy came crashing down through the twin hammers. A power that could destroy the heavens and the earth. This was his power. The power after evolution was only Li Yuanba himself. Tianxian was completely dumbfounded, seeing the shocking power slicing down from the sky. He was scared to the point that he couldn't even react. He could only shout, "Father, save me." Heaven's eyes turned sinister. His right hand flipped and took out a seal from his palm. "Deep Earth Divine Seal. Open for me." A thick layer of defensive energy wrapped around the sky Xian. The Deep Earth Divine Seal was a holy artifact. Other than the Transmission Gate S, the Savage Domain was one of the three great holy artifacts. It possessed an extremely strong defensive power that was able to gather all of the defensive power of the earth. This defense was extremely powerful. With the protection of this thick Earth Divine Seal, he didn't have to worry at all. However, Li Yuanba's two hammers struck down. The Deep Earth Divine Seal could not even last a second before it shattered. It released the Earth defense and was smashed into smithereens by his hammer attack. Walala! The defense shattered. Without losing any strength, Tianxian's face paled. It was as if he had died. This was too scary. At this moment, he couldn't even make a sound. It was as if a death god was strangling him. It was extremely uncomfortable. Under the powerful force, the sky profound was trembling. The mount that he was riding, the savage wolf, was also trembling. However, in this instant, Li Yuanba's twin hammers did not strike down, but instead stopped above Tianxian's head. A groove had appeared on his skull due to the powerful force of the wind, and as his eyes slightly opened, he looked at the Fury Lightning battle hammer that was hovering above his head and became incontinent. He said with a trembling voice, Please spare me. Please spare me. Save me." At this moment, Li Yuanba's other raging thunder battle hammer suddenly smashed onto the body of the barbarian Wolf King. "Boss, catch it." His life was given to him by Long Fei. His name was given to him by Long Fei. His heart has me, Long Fei. He could have instantly killed the sky profound with that strike just now. But he did not do that because Li Yuanba thought that killing the sky profound and the barbarian Wolf King would bring Long Fei even more benefits. Thus, he stopped. If he retracted his power, the backlash would be extremely harmful, but he didn't care about it. Boom! Tianxian landed in front of Long Fei. He directly flipped over from the savage Wolf King's body to the ground, then directly kneeled in front of Long Fei and said, "Long Fei, I was wrong just now, I was wrong. In the distance, the space between Heaven's eyebrows tightened. He once again underestimated Li Yuanba's power. He did not expect that a person from an Antion region would have such a strong power after evolving. He was the first generation evolved, and the first person evolved as well. He was the strongest evolved person. Heaven felt unwell in his heart. He felt even more displeased when he saw his son kneeling down and begging for mercy. Longfei smirked and said, "I won't kill you." Tian Xian relaxed, as if he had received an amnesty. However, just at this moment, Longfei swung his blade and beheaded the savage Wolf King. He roared out, "Do you think it's possible that I won't kill you?" Crack! Ding! Congratulations to player Longfei for killing Savage Wolf King for obtaining 223,000,000 experience points, 110,000 power of celestial, and 1 energy values. Congratulations, player. A few items dropped. Longfei had not released his striking energy value, nor did he have it right now. Not to mention, in front of him, there was an even stronger boss. The boss's body was glowing with a rich purple light. Heaven. Ancestor, this is the power that you want. Hurry up and absorb it. Longfei reminded her. The beast blood splattered all over Tian Xian's face. He was so scared that he seemed to have gone crazy. He continued to roar as Longfei grabbed him and lifted him up. And then, Longfei said to Li Yuanba, "Carry the 3 of them." Li Yuanba quickly followed his orders. Longfei stared at Heaven and said, "Do you want your son's life? Be good and listen to me. Don't chase them out." Finished. Longfei took a step forward and said, "Yuanba, let's go." Tian Xian shouted, "Father, save me." Heaven did not give chase. A shadow flashed as he walked out from thin air. He asked in confusion, "Master, why did you let them go?" Heaven sneered and said, "He will return. Because his woman is in my hands." There were countless evolved people here, so why would Longfei leave this heaven of leveled up? Because the 3 of them, Heavenly Spirit, Lin Yusheng and Arhut, had not awakened yet. He wanted to first wake the 3 of them up, then turn over the savage city. Chapter 1051. Chapter 1051. Outside the savage city. Before Longfei even landed on the ground, a shadow soldier ran up and said, "Boss, eldest sister-in-law has been captured, and a few hundred other brothers have also been captured." Once the shadow squad was exposed, they would be captured just like the humans. As long as his cultivation was stronger than theirs, it would be difficult for them to escape. Longfei's face darkened and thought to himself, "No wonder my son was captured by me. Heaven, this purple light boss did not chase after him. I already said that." Longfei landed. Li Yuanba carried his heavenly spirit, Lin Yusheng, and the Arhut down. Seeing Longfei's furrowed brows, he could not help but ask, "Boss, what happened?" "Tianxin has been captured," Longfei replied. At this time, "Longfei, as long as you release me, I will immediately go back and release the Heavenly Star Senior Sister." "Longfei, Tianxin is so beautiful. You don't want to lose her, right?" Tianxin said anxiously. Longfei did not pay attention to him. Tianxin continued to speak. "Longfei, my life is very important. I believe that my father will definitely use the Heavenly Star Realm to exchange for my life. Calm down for me. Go back to your words, and I'll kill you." Longfei's eyes were filled with anger as he roared out. Tianxin's body immediately shrunk, and he didn't even dare to breathe loudly anymore. After Heavenly Star was captured, Heaven's goal was not Profound Sky Continent, but him. If Heaven's goal was to save Sky Profound, then he would have chased him out when he escaped, but he didn't. Sky Profound had never thought that Longfei would think about it so clearly. Thus, Longfei also thought that Sky Star was currently safe. At least he wouldn't be in danger of losing his life. Thinking of this, Longfei's heart secretly relaxed, and he thought to himself, "Wait for me. Give me a bit of time." And then, Longfei ordered, "All remaining brothers of the Hell Core, keep an eye on him. I will be back in 3 days." With that said, Long Fei carried Tian Xian and flew out. Li Yuanba carried the three of them and followed behind. After flying for a few hours, Long Fei arrived at a valley. The most important thing right now was to wake up Lin Yusheng and the other two, so they couldn't let them get under their control again. Otherwise, Long Fei wouldn't even have the mood to return to the savage city. Speak. How are the three of them going to escape their control and regain their freedom? Long Fei stomped his foot on the profound sky continent, causing his eyes to become angry as he roared loudly. Tian Xin quickly said, I really don't know. They are an evolved human. They're controlled by the powerhouse. He definitely won't let us know. Don't say it. Long Fei's eyes became ruthless. Killing intent filled his eyes, and a thick, imposing aura pressed down as he said, Tell me. Long Fei, I swear to God, if I don't tell you, I will be struck by lightning and will die a horrible death. Evolvers, the energy aura in each of their bodies is different. It could be said, no one in the gods' martial continent knew how they evolved, but this power was also a control power. That chaos realm was no fool. He would not give everything to the Tian clan without any means to control the Tian clan. If that was the case, then heaven and the others were too naive. The Yin Huang ancestor replied, He indeed doesn't know. This is Chaos Realm's unique control ability. If you want to break through the barrier, you have to do so by yourself. Otherwise, you can't do it. You'll be reduced to nothing but a puppet for the rest of your life. Long Fei's heart sank. Gritting his teeth, he stared at the profound sky continent. Who captured them? It's not me. It's not me. I've never been to the Nantian region. I don't know anything. Tian Xian was so scared that he peed his pants. The aura on Long Fei's body was too oppressive. And then, Tian Xian said as he continuously retreated, Long Fei, your woman is still in my father's hands. If you know what's good for you, then release me. Otherwise, threatening your father? The corners of Long Fei's mouth turned cold. Tian Xian said, I'm trying to reason with you. Your woman is in my father's hands. If you want her alive, then you must let me live. If I die, she will also die. Long Fei slowly walked forward and said, I don't like to be reasonable the most. And I hate it when people threaten me the most. Finished. Long Fei's figure moved, and with a step, he landed right in front of Tian Xian. He grabbed with his 5 fingers and directly grabbed Profound Sky's head, then exerted his strength and shouted, I'll let you live well. It was you who hit Laozi's woman. This debt hasn't been settled yet. You are the one who is toying with my brother. This debt has not been settled yet. Are you still King threatening me? Die! The anger in Long Fei's heart surged. He exerted force through his 5 fingers and fiercely pinched them. With a sudden explosion, his head exploded, causing half of his body to sway for a bit as he fell to the ground. The system beeped. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Profound Sky, for gaining 150,000 experience, 25,990 power of celestial points, and 10 energy values points. Congratulations to player Long Fei for obtaining. None of the items that dropped caught Long Fei's eyes, as they had all been devoured by the Yin Huang ancestor. In this generation, anything dropped by a second-generation evolved human was like a great replenishment pill to the ancestor. They were all good stuff. Long Fei looked at Profound Sky's corpse on the ground and said coldly, You have also overestimated your value. In your father's eyes, you're not even worth a penny. Li Yuanba said, Boss, what do we do next? Since eldest sister-in-law has been captured, let's go back and save her. Li Yuanba had a serious look on his face, but even now he was still extremely excited in his heart. With Long Fei by his side, he was not afraid of the sky collapsing. Long Fei said, There's no need to rush. She is not in any danger right now. The most pressing matter at hand is to wake the 3 of them up. Right. Take off the Xin Shun sarcophagus on your body. Long Fei said. Li Yuanba was startled and revealed a sad look. Boss, do you not need me to give you the sword sheath? You don't want me anymore? From beginning to end, he had been carrying this huge stone coffin on his back. was precisely because he wanted to do some things for Long Fei. In the past few years, he had already gotten used to it, and even Chaos Realm did not do it when she used her idea to make him remove the stone coffin on his back. This belief went deep into his bones. It was also because of this that Li Yuanba's simple and silly personality was the first to break free from his restraints. His world's only center of gravity was Long Fei. This was the Lubi. Long Fei was moved and said, "Lubi." Li Yuanba said, "Boss, just let me help you carry your back. I'm not tired at all, haha." He smiled foolishly. After leaving Long Fei once, he really did not want to leave again. Following that, Long Fei moved a bit and took out the giant spirit coffin from the space ring and said slightly, "Yuanba, this is your power." Chapter 1052, Li Yuanba Fusion. Chapter 1052, Li Yuanba Fusion. When the giant spirit coffin appeared, Li Yuanba felt as if he was struck by lightning. His entire person was dumbstruck. Staring at the giant spirit coffin, his body started to tremble. The giant spirit coffin also started to tremble slightly. It had found the real owner, the inheritor of the true divine spirit blood vein. Long Fei said slightly, "Remove the Xian Ming sword sheath." Li Yuanba did as he was told, walked to the side of the giant spirit coffin and muttered, "I feel like there's someone myself inside." "Boss, why is that so?" "This feeling is very familiar. This power, so familiar." Li Yuanba's voice carried excitement. If the evolution of the Chaos Realm had allowed him to become stronger and stimulate the power in his body, then now, every cell in his body was beating. Every drop of blood essence was boiling. The great spirit god's blood veins power will fully erupt. Li Yuanba walked in front of the giant spirit coffin and gently caressed the sarcophagus. The strange and ancient runes on the surface of the sarcophagus seemed to have come alive, as if they had lived. It was extremely strange. Long Fei had never seen such a scene before. His heart was also extremely shocked, and he thought to himself, "8 King Kong, everyone is unique as well. Yuanba, this is your true strength. Let the universe within your body erupt." Long Fei stood quietly at the side. He did not disturb them, and did not make any sound, but instead stood quietly and looked at Li Yuanba. Li Yuanba looked like he was possessed, as he was completely captivated by the giant spirit coffin. The runes on the sarcophagus twisted, allowing Li Yuanba to feel the power released by the runes inside. At this moment, he finally knew that the giant spirit blood vein was flowing in his body. Only then did he know that the blood vein he had inherited was an extremely powerful type of blood vein energy. Half an hour later, Li Yuanba used a little strength in his arms. The sound of a sarcophagus rubbing against each other rang out as the sarcophagus slowly opened. A huge double-sided battle axe. This was a giant weapon, a corpse that was dressed in gold armor. His entire body was releasing an extremely strong aura. Li Yuanba looked at the corpse, and the corpse was also looking at him. At this moment, tens of thousands of thunderous roars resounded in Li Yuanba's sea of consciousness. His sea of consciousness churned, his mind was baptized, and a powerful force shot into the sky, directly exploding in the sky. Buzz! A ring burst out, forming a huge halo that spread out. Buzz! Yet another force charged forward. Just like the wonders of the world, each ring reflected an area of 1,000,000 kilometers. 10 minutes later, Li Yuanba immediately jumped into the sarcophagus and closed his eyes. Buzz! The huge force vanished in an instant, and the runes on the sarcophagus returned to their place. Everything returned to its previous tranquility, as if nothing had happened at all. Long Fei's heart also tightened. He instantly rushed to the front of the giant spirit coffin, extremely worried, and asked, "Ancestor, what's the situation?" Yin Huang Ancestor shook his head and said, "I don't know either. Right now, the only thing you can do is to believe in the Lubi. I once said that under the influence of the corpse worm, there will be a problem with your intelligence. But now it seems that I have helped him. Right now, the only thing you can do is to believe in Alubi. I once said that under the influence of the corpse worm, there will be a problem with your intelligence, but now it seems that I have helped him. Yin Huang ancestor slowly said. At this time, Long Fei could do nothing. The only thing they could do was choose to trust Li Yuanba. Long Fei stood by the side of the sarcophagus and waited quietly. His palms were drenched with cold sweat. Time passed by minute. His heart was getting more and more anxious. An hour passed. The stone coffin of the Titan had no reaction. 2 hours passed. It was the same. 5 hours passed. Long Fei could no longer hold it in and said, I want to open the sarcophagus. Giant spirit, golden corpse, if you dare to hurt my brother, I will make you regret coming to this world. Long Fei was infuriated. Li Yuanba was the head of the 8 King Kong and his first brother, real brothers. Just as Long Fei was about to open the sarcophagus, a light flashed on top of the sarcophagus, and the ancient runes started to move, causing the sarcophagus to be pushed open. Li Yuanba crawled out from within, his face flushed red with excitement. He looked at Long Fei and said, Boss, this power is too ferocious, huh? Only now do I know that my ancestor was a giant spirit god. It's a giant. He's too powerful, a giant battle axe sweeping through the universe. I didn't expect my ancestor to be this powerful. Awesome to the point of being a complete mess. Excited. Happy. Just like a little boy who had received his beloved toy. Looking at Long Fei's expression and how he was unwilling to let go of the giant spirit coffin, Li Yuanba became even more aware of himself. Long Fei looked at him, seriously listening, and laughed along with Li Yuanba. Long Fei was happy for Li Yuanba from the bottom of his heart. Moreover, it looked like the power on Li Yuanba's body had not changed at all, but it was not. For the past 5 hours, he had merged with the power inside the golden corpse. Moreover, the golden corpse would be summoned along with his idea. Once he was summoned, he would be a destructive existence. Long Fei was looking forward to it. Finally, Li Yuanba became serious and asked, Boss, I can carry 2 sarcophaguses on my back. Leave your Xianshun sarcophagus to me. Long Fei immediately put away the Xianshun sarcophagus and said, Right now, my weapon is much more advanced than the Xianming sword. I don't need it anymore. Carry your giant spirit coffin properly. There are still 2 more days left. You should train hard with this little bit of time. Long Fei then looked at the other 3 Vajrayas that were like zombies and muttered to himself, How can I break through the control of my powers over your bodies? Long Fei walked in front of Tianling and said, Tianling, wake up. Li Yuanba also followed. Sky Spirit, Boss is back. Boss Long Fei is back. Wake up. Don't let that power control you and break through your consciousness. Li Yuanba said anxiously. The 3 of them remained indifferent. Huff. Long Fei let out a heavy sigh, then said, Yuanba, go cultivate. You don't need to worry about the matters of the 3 of them. Oh, Li Yuanba carried the giant spirit coffin and walked into the depths of the valley. Long Fei sat on the ground, staring at the 3 of them with a dazed look in his eyes. He didn't know how to help the 3 of them. If he wanted to break through his control, he would have to rely on himself. Long Fei couldn't help either. Long Fei muttered, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have abandoned you all and entered the immortal domain alone. I thought that no one in the Nantian region would dare to act against you, but... Chapter 1053, Hall of Immortals Invitation. Chapter 1053, Hall of Immortals Invitation. I was wrong. Sigh. Let's not talk about this anymore. Whoever moves against you will be repaid 100-fold. No matter what you become in the future, you will always be my Long Fei's brothers forever. Long Fei was blaming himself in his heart as he spoke slowly. He talked about what had happened in the past and what he had encountered in the immortal domain. It was like a story. He told them that he had met the other 4 great King Kong. Tell them they're looking for their father. Tell them about God Emperor Academy. A lot. In the end, he didn't even know what he was talking about. But to the 3 of them, this was a force to be reckoned with. It allowed their spiritual senses to be even clearer as to who they were. His name, his identity, and who was the person sitting in front of them. Long Fei. Boss. The three of them continued to work hard, getting closer and closer to breaking through their control. In their hearts, they were roaring out in hysteria. He was using more and more strength. The process was painful, but the three of them did not give up. They all remembered the vows that they had said while following Long Fei. They would definitely follow him down to the peak of this world and to the peak of this universe. Godly defenses kill gods. Buddha defenses dry his ass. Savage City. City Lord's Mansion, Tian Family Chamber. Great Clan Elder Tian Qing asked, Patriarch, how can you let Long Fei go? Capturing a heavenly star to threaten Long Fei? Can he come back and save her? Humph. If it's not me who said that, then this step of yours is extremely wrong. What is a woman? A woman is only a man's plaything, Tian Qing said with a cold snort. Heaven squinted his eyes and smiled. Quite a few elders in the hall began to speak. Heaven listened, but did not say anything. He did not speak, and the discussion in the hall became more and more intense. In the end, all of their faces and necks turned red and raised their sleeves as if they wanted to fight. Heaven suddenly asked, Great Clan Elder, why is the third clan elder not here? As soon as his voice faded, the entire hall suddenly became silent. Basically, the matter of the third elder's death was now known to everyone. Tian Qing's face turned sinister and said, Patriarch, what is the meaning of this? Nothing, I'm just asking. Heaven laughed and said, then looked at the clan elders in the hall and said, regardless of whether Long Fei returns or not, we have the initiative. As long as he doesn't die. Right now the Nantian region is still in our hands, so he doesn't dare to act recklessly either. The heavenly star might not be very valuable, but what we want is not Long Fei's life. We want the dragon domain to open. As long as dragon domain opens, he will be instantly killed, Heaven said leisurely. At this moment, his gaze tensed up and he said, but some people want to stir up trouble within the family. I advise them to calm down a little. You know my methods very well. Don't go overboard, otherwise I won't let you off so easily. Grand Elder, what do you think? Heaven's gaze darkened as he stared intently at Tian Qing. Tian Qing's expression did not change, and said, the Tian clan has always been united, and if anyone dares to disrupt the unity of the clan, then he is the biggest enemy of the Tian clan. Heaven faintly smiled and said, Great Elder is right. From today onwards, you will be in charge of the Savage City's defense. The Savage City's defenses had always been controlled by Heaven himself. Suddenly giving up power? Why is that? Tian Qing was also surprised in his heart. Heaven, what exactly are you trying to do? However, he had always wanted to obtain the defensive rights of the Savage City. Since it was given to him, he had no reason to reject it. It was the same in the hearts of the elders and parents. It was impossible to guess what Heaven was doing. Is he afraid of Grand Elder? Giving his authority to the Great Elder, is he afraid of him? He must be scared. The meeting ended. The many clan elders had scattered. A few unstable clan elders stood by Tian Qing's side. When the black shadow appeared beside Heaven, even he did not understand and asked, Master, why did you give him the authority? If he has the right to defend himself, then he might rebel at any time. Heaven smiled slightly and said, You don't understand Long Fei. He will be back soon. At that time, the first to be affected will be Tian Qing's red armored army. Haha. Tian Qing, you want to fight me? You're still too far away. Heaven's face carried a cold smile. Everything was within his plans. He didn't dare say anything else, as he was extremely familiar with Long Fei's personality. He definitely wouldn't allow Heavenly Star to stay in such a dangerous place. Moreover, besides Heavenly Star, there were still so many Een soldiers. These ghost soldiers were all Long Fei's brothers. He could not give up. If it was him, even if it wasn't for Tianxin, it had to be fought back for these ghost soldiers. The uses of these ghost soldiers were simply too great. At this moment, a black armored warrior walked over hastily. A black shadow flashed, and like a ball of black fog, it instantly vanished into the darkness. Reporting to Patriarch, There is a self-proclaimed messenger outside the manor who is from the palace question of God, seeking an audience. Would you like to meet him? Heaven frowned. Palace question of God's messenger. The savage domain and the palace question of God have never had anything to do with each other. Why are you here at this time? Heaven was silent for a moment, then said, "Let him in." The envoy of the palace question of God? Star spirit messenger? No. The person who came was Supreme God, and this showed that he was even more sincere. The things that had happened in the past few days, as well as the powerhouse that Long Fei released, quickly spread to Gu Tongtian, who was also extremely shocked. And just as he had expected, the Nantian region was truly controlled by the savage domain. They were all here to deal with Long Fei. The same goal. Then they would be able to join hands. Supreme God walked into the hall. Heaven's gaze tightened slightly. Are all the emissaries of the palace question of God S super powerhouse S? He understood the palace question of God S as well. Just Star Spirit Messenger did not have such a high realm. Supreme God smiled faintly and said, "City Lord has such good eyesight." Heaven slightly said, "Tell me the purpose of your visit." The Supreme God did not dawdle and directly said, "I was ordered by Grand Elder to find the City Lord to form an alliance." An alliance? Heaven sneered and said, "Not interested." The Supreme God said, "Our goals are the same, and we want the same things as well. No matter what it is, we Palace Question of God will share it with you for the same reasons." Heaven's eyes were filled with contempt and said, "I don't like sharing, and our savage domain is not an immortal domain, so we won't be turned upside down by a Long Fei. Even his Supreme God was killed, and your elders were also almost killed by Long Fei, right? Do I have to form an alliance with such a power?" Supreme God's gaze turned sinister. His fists clenched tightly, before relaxing as he said, "City Lord, Long Fei isn't that easy to deal with." Heaven laughed. "My savage domain is not an immortal domain. It's more than enough to deal with a single Long Fei." Confidence. A strong confidence. This self-confidence came from his formidable strength, the strength of an evolved human. Chapter 1054, Long Fei. Chapter 1054, Long Fei. There was not much to say. Supreme God did not speak further. Instead, he smiled and said, "I believe that the mayor will ally himself with us." Finished. He left the City Lord's mansion. Heaven sneered. "The immortal domain has already been overturned by Long Fei. So how can we gather power and ally everywhere now? Based on the current palace question of God." A weakling, he did not place palace question of God in his eyes at all. Currently, only Gu Tongtian was barely able to hold on in palace question of God. If he died, then immortal domain would have collapsed. Other than the savage domain, the Supreme God also went to the dark domain. However, different from Heaven, Song Qianqing agreed without even thinking. In addition, he even gifted Master a magic tribe with a huge gift. Not just dark domain. Gu Tongtian's influence was very strong. He sent out dozens of Star Spirit Messenger S and gathered all the hidden powerhouse S together. These reclusive powerhouse, they were all under a threat. Lifespan. 500 years of life is the limit of the gods' martial continent. Moreover, for tens of thousands of years, no one had been able to break through the shackles of heavenly tribulation. In the face of his lifespan running out, Gu Tongtian's request was simply too enticing. As long as they obtained the Dragon Domain's secret treasure, they would be able to obtain a longer lifespan. As long as their lives remained, anything was possible. Powerhouse gathered. The palace question of God was open to them. There was powerful spiritual energy and some of the stronger cultivation techniques in the palace question of God. The current palace question of God was completely different from the one a few days ago. His strength had reached an unprecedented level. This was Gu Tongtian's method. The 6 flying fairy stronger man S are not your match? Then I will find 16, 36, and even 60 flying fairyland powerhouse S and ask if you are afraid. For more longevity, they would never show any mercy. And all of these, Long Fei did not know. In the valley, after 2 days, Long Fei still did not stop talking. He told everyone everything that happened in the immortal domain these past few years, and Long Fei wanted them to know how he had lived these past few years. He also let them know how much he missed them. Huff! One last night, Long Fei exhaled, his eyes raised slightly as he said, "Tomorrow, I will go save my woman, which is your eldest sister-in-law. If you can hear me, I hope you can come with me tomorrow when the sun rises. We're brothers, let's go fight." Long Fei said heavily, and then he too walked to the other side, his eyes unfocused. The Ming God's general was a fierce battle. The strength of those evolved people were very strong, especially Heaven, the purple light boss. If they wanted to kill it, they had to be prepared. In the dark night, before the great battle, Long Fei's heart was surprisingly calm. The more time passed, the calmer his heart became. The idea moved enchanted. 1,000 points disappeared, and Long Fei turned into a god's devil body. The god's devil body was still the same as before. Its 6 wings were broken. The power of the god's bone taboo on its entire body disappeared, and the strong force in its abdomen stopped struggling. God's bone taboo, level 1. Ding! The release of the god's bone taboo's power failed. The system sounded out. Ever since he was heavily crushed last time, Long Fei's god's devil bodies were severely restricted and could not be broken through. It was as if the strength of the god's bone taboo and the god's stellastone had all disappeared, and Long Fei was unable to activate them again. The current god's devil body was a complete cripple. Why is that? Even an upgrade can't be repaired? Why is that? I can recover my strength after leveling up together, but why can't I use the power of the god's bone taboo? Long Fei couldn't wrap his head around it. The power of the 9th level was simply too strong. The 10th level of power was definitely going to be a huge transformation. But one important thing was that he could not do anything as long as he could bring his god's devil body back to its original state. At this moment, the Yin Huang ancestor said slightly, "The devil body has suffered a strong impact. All of your powers are dead. If you want to activate them, you have to endure a stronger power and use this power to wake them up, or else your devil body will be a waste." Long Fei was shocked, and he became ecstatic. "Ancestor, are you saying that they're still in my body and that I can still activate them?" Yin Huang ancestor said, "Yes, but I'm not sure if this world is able to activate their powers." "What? Even someone at the peak of the flying fairyland cannot do it?" Long Fei asked. The Yin Huang ancestor said, "The flying immortal peak realm's power is unable to be activated. It is a type of heavenly power. If you want to reawaken them, you have to step over the power of the flying fairyland. It is very difficult. At least right now, I can't think of what kind of power it is, and if you're not careful, you might not be able to endure it. However, I'll help you," Yin Huang ancestor said. Long Fei's devil body was very strong, especially when he was able to cultivate to the 9th floor of the god's bone taboo. He also wanted to see what the 10th floor would look like. What exactly is the 10th floor of the god's bone taboo? Even the Yin Huang ancestor did not know. Early morning, when the first ray of sunlight shone down, Long Fei's eyes opened slightly. 3 days. The appointed time with the ghost soldiers had arrived. Long Fei stood up, a huge boulder pressing down on his heart. He was worried that Lin Yusheng and the others were still being controlled by his energy. However, he raised his eyes and looked at the 4 people standing on the distant hillside. Li Yuanba, Sky Spirit, Arhut, Lin Yusheng. Under the rays of the sun, the 4 of them were extremely long, like a giant. Long Fei walked towards them step by step with a smile on his face. He was extremely excited as he looked at the 4 of them, and that familiar feeling returned. Long Fei walked up the slope. The 4 of them shouted in unison, "Boss!" With a voice as loud as thunder, Long Fei grinned. He laughed until he seemed to be an idiot, and laughed to the point that tears were already flowing out his eyes. "Ha ha!" The 4 Vajra also laughed. He was laughing so hard that tears came out of his eyes. Half a moment later, Long Fei looked in the direction of the savage city and said, "Let's go. Overturn the savage city. Save sister-in-law." The 4 of them said at the same time. On the way to Savage City, Long Fei gave him the power of the Holy Spirit that belonged to the Heavenly Spirit and said, "Heavenly Spirit, this is your power." Outside the Savage City, the Yin soldiers gathered, waiting for Long Fei. Inside Savage City, inside the City Lord's mansion, Heaven looked at the Heavenly Star in the Great Hall and said, "Heavenly Star, do you think Long Fei will come and save you?" Tianqing didn't speak. Was he too important to Long Fei after 3 days? In her heart, she didn't know either. After all, she had only known Long Fei for a few days. Why would that man in the world risk his life for such a woman? Savage City was a huge trap. He wouldn't be able to get out the moment he entered. In her heart, she would rather not have Long Fei here. At this moment, a black-armored warrior rushed into the hall and said, "Long Fei is here." Chapter 1055, Hand Over My Sister-in-Law. Chapter 1055, Hand Over My Sister-in-Law. 5 people stood below Savage City. The city gates were tightly shut, and the guards in red armor stood on top of the city walls. This was the First Elder's main branch. They were all second-generation evolved people, and the power of the Red Armor Army was second only to Heaven's Black Armor Army. Almost every single one of them was an existence of the peak of the Yuan Xian, an existence of the immortal realm. "What did you say? Long Fei is really here?" Tianqing's eyes froze for a moment. There was a hint of excitement in his eyes. He didn't dare believe it, but his guards wouldn't lie to him. Long Fei was right outside the Savage City. "You dare to come back for a woman? Ha ha! Long Fei. Oh, Long Fei. I thought you were very outstanding, but never would I have imagined that you were so mediocre." Tianqing's eyes were filled with contempt. How could a man be in danger for a woman? No need at all. In Tianqing's eyes, women were just playthings for men, tools to vent their anger. Long Fei's appearance made him feel contempt. An elder walked up and said, "Great Clan Elder, Long Fei is extremely important. If we can catch him, we will grasp the initiative." Another elder added, "Currently, everyone in the entire God's martial continent knows that only Long Fei is able to enter the open dragon domain. If we can catch him, we can enter the dragon domain first. The entire God's martial continent is ours, huh?" Tianqing laughed excitedly. The scene was so beautiful that he could not imagine it. And then Tianqing yelled out and said, "Pass down my order. Capture Long Fei alive." City Lord's mansion at the same time, tears streamed down his cheeks. "Long Fei, why are you so silly? Quickly leave this place. Quickly leave. Women are always the strangest animals." She was touched that Long Fei had come, but she didn't want Long Fei to put herself in danger because of her. Heaven smiled faintly and said, "Tianqing, looks like you have some value after all. If you can persuade him to listen to my orders, I will spare your lives." Tianqing looked at Heaven and said, "Patriarch, I beg of you, please let him go. I'm willing to do anything you want me to do." "Ha ha! Let him go. Let him go. Who's going to let me go?" Heaven smiled playfully. If he wanted to control his own fate, he had to obtain Long Fei. Only in this way could he control the initiative. Although his son was trash, his words weren't wrong. As long as the transmission gate was destroyed, then he could control his own fate. No matter how powerful that chaos realm was, it wouldn't be able to threaten him. Everything had to start with Long Fei. "Long Fei, you're mine." Heaven was excited. He secretly clenched his fists. At this time, another black-armored warrior walked into the hall and said, "Patriarch, the Great Clan Elder and the others have started to move." Heaven sneered and said, "Tianqing? Ha ha! Let's see how long you can hold out for. Send the order that the black-armored warrior's City Lord's mansion is to gather and release the news that Tianqing is in the City Lord's mansion." "Yes, sir." Everything was as Heaven expected. Long Fei had returned. At the same time, in a certain restaurant in Savage City, a man dressed in a black robe was sitting in a private room beside the window, tasting delicious food. Looking at the commotion on the streets, the large amount of people wearing red armor rushed to the city gate. The man smirked and laughed coldly. The show has started, Supreme God. He did not leave the savage city. At the city gate, Long Fei and the rest of the five stood there quietly. The city gates were shut tight. On top of the city walls, there was a large number of red armor warrior gathered, waiting and waiting, special arrows locking onto the heads of Long Fei and the other four. Li Yuanba slightly said, "Boss, can we start now? I can't wait any longer." Lin Yuxing also laughed and said, "It's time for a wave to erupt. It's been hard on us these past few years." Arhut put his hands together and said lightly, "Ba, I am not going to hell. Who is going to hell? Let's kill." 4. The four great king-level entities all returned. Long Fei laughed excitedly. On the city wall, an elder disdainfully sneered and said, "You five only want to come to Savage City to behave atrociously? Kid, don't even mention Long Fei. Even if you are, you will have to obediently kneel on the ground and call us grandfather." Several tens of thousands of red armor warrior S, an existence that could crush the powerhouse S of the flying fairyland, a mere Long Fei? He did not put them in his eyes at all. Every single one of the red armor warrior S were also extremely arrogant existences. Mother asterisk Kerr. Li Yuanba immediately cursed in anger. This old man will see who kneeling on the ground calls grandpa. At this moment, ding, system notification. Do you want to start party formation? Party formation, activate. Ding, team mode activated. Captain, Long Fei, party member, Li Yuanba, Lin Yusheng, Heavenly Spirit Arhut. Guild mode activated. Experience increased by 10%. Everything is fine, Long Fei muttered. Everything had been prepared properly. His voice had sunk, and with a roar, he said, "Kill them. Let them know what a grandfather is." Li Yuanba took the lead and rushed out. Just like that, he let out a wild roar. Then like a super tank, he rapidly pushed forward without even flying, only fiercely accelerating. He crashed into it. Everyone was looking at him. We're about to collide with the city wall. Is this person an idiot? This person is definitely more brainless than someone else. Could it be that he wants to smash the Savage City's wall? This Savage City wall is the strongest and strongest wall in history, stronger than even the God Emperor City itself. Ha ha, ha ha. Laughter filled the walls. They were all ridiculing Li Yuanba for being an idiot. However, 1 second later, rumble. The thick wall was smashed into a big hole, and Li Yuanba rushed in together with the person inside the wall. The big hole started to crack around the walls, and a few seconds later, rumble. The city walls collapsed, and a large number of the city walls collapsed. Dozens of red armor warrior S on top of the city walls buried themselves into the rubble. The other people could no longer laugh and were stupefied. This person, too fierce. Who is an idiot? Who's the brainless one? They don't have enough brains. Li Yuanba, who was rushing into the city, suddenly roared out, "Hand your sister-in-law over." His voice was like thunder. At this time, the Holy Spirit around Long Fei moved. The spirit body opened up and flew into the air, facing the place where the red armor warrior was the most concentrated. Its eyes turned sinister as though it had come from hell. Power of the Dost. Rot. Shua. His body dashed forward, and power gushed out from his fingers, piercing through. The bodies of the red armor warrior S on top of the city walls petrified and then crumbled, as if a statue had cracked, and they were all instantly killed. In Long Fei's mind, the system beep was going wild. Experience exploded. As the spirits descended, a gloomy voice sounded out above Savage City. "Hand your eldest sister-in-law over." Extraordinary power. The slaughter began. Who kneels down and calls me grandpa? Who kneels down and calls me grandpa? Destroying a city with a single move. One move of slay. The two of them stood inside Savage City like thunder god of war, valiant, domineering, unparalleled. Arhut and Lin Yusheng stood by Long Fei's side, protecting their boss like they were protectors on his left and right. The three of them walked toward the savage city at a leisurely pace. At this moment, the entire savage city was shocked by them. The red armor warrior S didn't know how to react and looked at them with their mouths agape. It was also at this time. The elder on top of that city shouted, "Kill him!" Immediately, red armor warriors surged towards the five of them like a tide. Haha! Li Yuanba revealed an innocent and excited smile. As his hands descended, he held raging thunder in his hands, and without waiting for them to charge forward, he went forward to meet them. The same goes for the Sky Spirit. The red armor warrior was very strong. He was the elite amongst the great clan Elder Tianqing's elites. However, in front of Li Yuanba and Tianling, they were like radishes and cabbages, sliced to death. When they came out, they smashed their brains open and their bodies exploded. He couldn't stop it at all. Li Yuanba, Sky Spirit sect, are too fierce. The two of them were currently recovering in the flying fairyland. All of a sudden, those red armored warriors stopped attacking and started to retreat. Their faces also turned pale, and miserable cries could be heard constantly. They're not human at all. Save me. This man is the devil. He is the devil. Help me. This is too terrifying. The fear was spreading, causing the red armor warrior to lose their ability to fight and could only retreat. Suddenly, Li Yuanba suddenly moved, boom, carrying a huge sarcophagus on his back and holding dual hammers in his hands. He leaped up heavily and landed on top of the city gate tower. His gaze was fixated on the elder of the Heaven clan who was giving out orders. Haha! Li Yuanba laughed coldly. The elder gulped and asked fearfully, "What do you want to do?" Li Yuanba stared at him. The surrounding red armor warriors slowly pushed it away. The elder asked again, "Just what are you planning to do?" Li Yuanba still did not speak and only stared at him. The elder's heart was on the verge of collapse. He was almost crying as he said, "Just what are you trying to do? Tell me. If you don't tell me, how would I know?" At this moment, Li Yuanba roared fiercely. "Aren't you asking us to kneel down?" His voice was extremely loud. The surrounding red armor warriors were all shaken to the point that their eardrums ruptured. Blood flowed out of their 7 orifices, and that elder's heart was also incomparably terrified. He instantly kneeled on the ground with a pot sound. However, without waiting for him to kneel, Li Yuanba swung his hammer and said, "Kneel before my big brother." Bam! The clan elder flew down and landed right in front of Long Fei. "Master Long Fei, don't kill me. I was wrong. I'm on my knees before you. I was wrong. I was wrong. I beg you to spare my life." In the face of death, everyone was afraid. Long Fei's mouth hooked up and said slightly, "Are you afraid? Don't worry. Just 1 second. 1 second is enough." With that, the dragon salure that was carried on Long Fei's shoulder fell. In an instant, a head flew up, blood spurted out wildly. Ding! The system sounded out. Yet another wave of experience. Long Fei shouted, "Kill them all." The experience points was rising rapidly. The experience of these red armor warriors was too great. They were about to level up. Haha! The Sky Spirit laughed sinisterly as the power of the dose on his body surged. Everywhere he went, not a single blade of grass grew. Grand Elder's estate. Tianqing's body trembled. "What did you say? Completely wiped out? Impossible. It's absolutely impossible. Even if my red armor warrior met a powerhouse of the advanced level of the flying immortal stage, they would not be defeated at such a short period of time." Did you see wrongly? He didn't believe it. Red armor warriors' fighting strength was very powerful. How could they possibly be completely annihilated in just an hour? In the yard, the faces of the elders darkened. "Grand Elder, what do we do now?" An elder asked. With a red armor warrior broken, who could stop Long Fei? Red armor warrior was completely wiped out. Tianqing was extremely furious in his heart, but he did not lose his reason. Instead, he became even calmer, and with a sinister look in his eyes, he said, "Heaven, you want to use me as your cannon fodder? All right, then I'll see who's the cannon fodder." He now understood. The reason why Heaven gave up on his Savage City's defense was because he wanted Long Fei to come back and use his red armor warrior as cannon fodder. Otherwise, why would he give him the authority to do so? Understanding this, Tianqing's heart became even colder. His voice sunk as he said, Long Fei entered the city to save his woman. If you capture his woman, I want to see how you escape and how you withstand it. Pass my orders. Everyone withdraw. Tianqing immediately said. He was not afraid of Long Fei. With his cultivation, it was not difficult to suppress him, but heaven. City Lord's mansion, the black-armored warrior made a report on the movements of the savage city. Heaven smirked and said, Tianqing, this lesson doesn't feel good. Huh? Fight with me? You are not qualified. An elder said anxiously. Clan leader, what do we do now? Long Fei is about to arrive. Heaven laughed. Why should a mere Long Fei be afraid? He did not place Long Fei in his eyes at all. From a moment Long Fei appeared in Savage City, he knew that Long Fei was just like fish on his chopping block. Long Fei, you won't be able to escape from my grasp. Heaven laughed sinisterly, then said, Pass my order. Let him enter the city lord's mansion. Tell the black-armored warrior to act according to plan. The order was quickly passed down. The streets of Savage City were empty. The door of the shop was tightly shut. There were no passers-by. A strong wind blew past, bringing with it the smell of blood and the chilling air. The entire Savage City was like a killing ground, causing people's hearts to turn cold, trembling. However, to the five of them, there was only excitement. Half a quarter of an hour later, Long Fei and the other three stood in front of the city lord's mansion's gate. The door was wide open. There was no sound from inside, but it was full of killing intent. Li Yuanba took a step forward and shouted loudly, Hand over my big sister-in-law. You dare to touch my boss woman, I will kill him too. Very arrogant. There was no sound coming from the city lord's mansion. It was as if there was no one inside. Li Yuanba clamored and said, Boss, could it be that you know we're here to escape? The man said, There's a very strong sense of danger inside. Dangerous aura. Li Yuanba rubbed the bridge of his nose, and with the swing of his twin hammers, he walked in with large strides while carrying the giant spirit coffin on his back. The moment he stepped through the door, his body was engulfed by a halo of light. Chapter 1057, Killing Heart Battle. Chapter 1057, Killing Heart Battle, Yuanba. Lubi, the three of them were shocked, quickly rushing forward. Long Fei was startled and immediately asked, Formation? Enter the formation. Long Fei almost immediately shouted without any consideration. This formation was too ingenious, and they could not feel the power of any formation at all. Now that Li Yuanba had entered the formation, even Long Fei and the others did not stop. The first to enter the formation, Buzz, it vanished in an instant. Arhut, Lin Yuxing followed closely behind and disappeared. Long Fei practically followed them inside, and even though it was not even half a second apart, he could not see them at all the moment they entered the array. The world where everyone entered the array was different. The Yan Huang ancestor was shocked and said, Long Fei, you have to be careful. This formation is from the Chaos Realm, although it isn't as powerful as the ones in the Chaos Realm, but just based on the power of the formation in the gods' martial continent, it is far too powerful, far too powerful. It's the Chaos Realm again. A ball of fury was burning in Long Fei's heart as he ruthlessly said, Damn it, this daddy must go to the Chaos Realm to take a look and see what kind of world it is. And then, Long Fei's idea sunk, trying to find the four of them, but his idea was completely cut off. Yan Huang ancestor said, Once this type of formation enters, it will be an independent space. Moreover, the most important thing is this is the formation that your mind is afraid of. Whatever you fear in your heart will appear. I'm worried. Yan Huang ancestor did not continue speaking. He had control of Long Fei's side. But what about the four great King Kong? Long Fei's heart sank and said, What are you afraid of? Ancestor, what exactly does this mean? Not waiting for him to finish, an illusion of heaven appeared in the space. Long Fei muttered in his heart. Ancestor. I'm not afraid of him. Why would his face appear here? Yin Huang, ancestor. Heaven slightly smiled. Long Fei, welcome to the killing heart battle. Cut the crap. Long Fei shouted. Release my men, release my women, I will withdraw from Savage City. Ha! Heaven laughed out loud and said, Long Fei, do you think you have the qualifications to negotiate with me? Don't talk to me about qualifications. I hate it when you talk about qualifications or not in front of me. People like this usually die miserably in my hands. Long Fei's eyes turned sinister. In his mind, he kept thinking about how to break the formation. Heaven sneered and said, Long Fei, as long as you listen to me obediently, your brother will be fine, your woman will also be fine, and your Nantian region's family members will all be fine. As long as you are obedient. This is my world. Do you understand? Heaven was very proud. The power within this killing heart battle is too strong. It is an illusory magic array that can see what you are most afraid of and then evolve. No one could decipher it. Long Fei said, Stop bullshitting with me. What about your world? Bullshit world? Heaven, you should know my character very well, and should know what happens if you touch me. Don't be so shameless. You'll die even more miserably than your son. Long Fei asked in his heart, Ancestor, have you thought of a way? Formation aperture. When breaking the formation, you must first find the core of the formation. Long Fei said anxiously in his heart, If you were strong enough to crush everything, any formation would be crushed with its immense power. But the rank of the array was too strong. It was stronger than the array inside the god's martial continent. It could not be easily crushed. He could only find the core of the formation and break it. The Yin Huang ancestor shook his head. The killing heart battle does not have any specific formation apertures, and every space has different formation apertures. It could be an unremarkable little grass, or it could be something that you are afraid of. The killing heart battle was an array formation comprehended by an Empyrean super powerhouse of the Chaos Realm. The killing heart battle that Long Fei was currently in was not even 1/10,000th of the Chaos Realm's strength. However, it couldn't be solved. Heaven's gaze turned sinister, not because he was sad at the death of his son, but instead sneered. Long Fei, I'll give you one last chance. Either be obedient like a dog, or, today, your 4 brothers all died, and your woman. As soon as he finished, Long Fei's eyes congealed into a ray of light. The dragon's salure in his hand slashed. The one who will die today will definitely be you. Shua, Heaven needed to break it. At this moment, the killing heart battle started to activate, and in the world that Long Fei resided in, an incomparably miserable voice sounded. Long Fei, save me, save me. It was the voice of the heavenly star realm. Long Fei's heart sank. He immediately shouted, Tian Xing, where are you? Long Fei quickly rushed out. Half a minute later, his entire body was dripping with blood, and his eyes were filled with pleading. When he saw Long Fei's appearance, he immediately shouted, Long Fei, quickly save me, quickly save me. Crap, Yin Huang ancestor immediately said. It cannot be saved. Long Fei, everything that you saw in the killing heart battle were just illusions. You cannot save them. This was what the Yin Huang ancestor was most worried about. He understood Long Fei very well. In terms of martial arts, he had no weakness. Even if he met a powerful opponent, he had no weakness. His weakness was his family. This was his most fatal weakness. Brothers, women, and relatives, once threatened, it was easy for him to lose his mind. The Yin Huang ancestor didn't know what kind of past he had, nor did he know what kind of experiences he had had in his previous life. To Long Fei, kinship was the most precious thing in the world. He risked his life to cherish it. In his previous life, he didn't even have a family member. Who were his parents? I don't know. He only knew that he grew up alone. He yearned for kinship, for the warmth of home. In this life, he cherished it with all his might. When he saw sky, stars suffering, Long Fei's mind seemed to think of no problem. He immediately charged forward and cut the cross in half with his blade. After unlocking Heavenly Star, he said, "It's fine, it's fine." Tianxing also instantly jumped into Long Fei's embrace. However, in this instant, Long Fei's chest was torn apart by a wave of energy. A dagger stabbed into his heart. Blood dripped down. Tianxing revealed an evil smile. "Why didn't you listen to the patriarch? Why didn't you listen to him? It hurts. If not for the Golden Dragon Protector, Long Fei's heart would have been pierced." However, he did not regret what he had just done. If it happened again, he would still do it, because Skystar was the first woman he had ever known. Yin Huang ancestors said, "Brat, he is not your woman. He is only an illusion in your mind." Without waiting for Long Fei to speak, Yin Huang ancestors' power gushed out. Boom! He directly sent the Heavenly Star flying. The Heavenly Star let out a blood-curdling scream. "Ah, Long Fei, I hate you. I'm very, very..." Buzz! The Heavenly Star disappeared into thin air. At this moment, Jojo's figure appeared out of thin air, and she had an incomparably sweet smile on her face. "Young Master Long Fei, Jojo misses you." Chapter 1058, Comprehending Sharingan. Chapter 1058, Comprehending Sharingan Kid. Long Fei, she isn't real, he isn't real," Yin Huang ancestor hurriedly said. He was also extremely furious in his heart. This formation was too disgusting, too despicable. If all his relatives were to give Long Fei a stab, even if Long Fei had 100 lives, it would still not be enough. Long Fei looked at Jojo, at her peaceful expression, and his heart was almost drunk. "Jojo, I missed you so much." "Long Fei, evil beings, let me do it." The Yin Huang ancestor ignored everything else. He could not let anyone else harm Long Fei. It was just too dangerous. If the dagger was even slightly more powerful, Long Fei would be dead. Boom! The moment Yin Huang ancestor used his power, he immediately killed the Jojo in the distance. Long Fei was enraged. "Ancestor, what are you doing?" The Yin Huang ancestor said, "Wake up! This is the killing heart battle. Jojo and the rest are still in the Nantian region. They can't possibly appear here. Everything you see is an illusion and not real." "Damn it, you actually dared to kill Sister Jojo. You've changed. You've become too cruel. You are no longer the Long Fei that I know." With that, an incomparably sharp javelin pierced through the void. The leopard girl, 3-point leopard tattoo outfit, full of savagery. However, her eyes were full of killing intent. Without waiting for her to approach, the Yin Huang ancestor moved once again. Another wave of force once again killed her, and the leopard girl's resentful gaze was imprinted in Long Fei's mind. That feeling was too unbearable, just like how he had killed the leopard girl. No, ancestor, if you keep fighting, I won't be polite." Long Fei's heart was on the verge of collapse. Jojo, the leopard girl, they were the weakest in Long Fei's heart. Seeing them die in front of him, he couldn't take it anymore. Long Fei was not a god, and was not a saint either. He had 7 emotions and 6 desires and emotions. Seeing them die, no matter how resolute Long Fei was, he could not take it. "Darn hooligan, how can you attack little Sister Jojo? Long Fei, you have changed. You're no longer the Long Fei that I know. Long Fei, you're too despicable. After leaving the Nantian region for so long, you still haven't come back to see us again. Do you know how much Senior Sister Luo, she has missed you? You don't like her at all, do you? You have a new woman now. You liar, and I hate you." The 3 Heaven Sex sisters walked out. Yi Zian, Xiao Tiantian, and Lu Luoxi. In another place, Yuan Ling also walked out. Looking at Long Fei, her eyes were filled with unfamiliarity. "You are no longer the Long Fei of the past. You have changed." The 4 of them appeared at the same time and slowly walked towards Long Fei. Patriarch, we can't attack anymore. We can't attack anymore." Long Fei screamed in his heart, and at the same time he kept saying, "I didn't do it. Luoxi, that's not me. It's not me." Boom, 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 boom. With 4 loud bangs, the 4 women were killed once again. Their corpses were lying in a pool of blood as the Yin Huang ancestor roared out, "Come, come, come." Long Fei was about to go crazy. Seeing the 4 of them lying in a pool of blood, the killing intent in his heart gathered crazily as he roared like thunder, "Yin Huang ancestor, get the hell out here right now. I will kill you." He was furious. Yin Huang ancestor shouted, "This is all an illusion. Long Fei, can you clear your mind a little? Wake up. I am very clear now. Look at them. They have all been killed by you. What exactly do you want to do? Are you afraid that I won't bring you back to the Chaos Realm? Are you afraid that I will be dragged down by the women, brothers, and family? Ancestor, I have always been thinking of doing my best to rebuild your body and return it to the Chaos Realm. Now, I can't take it anymore. Get out of my body." Long Fei was furious. Although the Yin Huang ancestor knew that this was an illusion and that Long Fei had lost his mind, hearing Long Fei's words made his heart surge with rage. The 2 of them fell into a frenzied argument. At the same time, the 4 great king-level entities were in an independent space. Li Yuanba was covered in blood, his entire body was filled with wounds, and the one standing in front of him was no other than Long Fei. It was the same with Arhut. The person in front of him was also Long Fei. Lin Yusheng heavily kneeled on the ground, and in front of him was the patriarch of the God's Water Tribe. The Sky Spirit was sleeping soundly in his mother's embrace. Imperceptibly, the 4 great Vajra body was almost completely destroyed. He was only 1 step away from death. Facing the weakest side of your heart, as long as you have 7 emotions and 6 desires, as long as you have shackles in your heart, you will not be able to escape the shackles of this formation. Killing heart battle, killing the weakest part of yourself. No one could stop him. Outside the formation, Heaven laughed out loud. For Great Vajra? TSK, a trash that couldn't even withstand a single blow. Long Fei, you'll have to kneel on the ground and beg me like a dog right now. Ha! Heaven was extremely proud. Everything was within his control. He was still thinking about the alliance invitation from the palace question of God a few days ago, and his heart became even more disdainful. Palace question of God? So what if you're the strongest power in a mortal domain? Your God Emperor city is already in ruins, and I only used a small formation to crush Long Fei like a dog. You want me to ally with you? Are you even worthy? Just you wait. When Long Fei complies with me obediently, and when I step into dragon domain for the first time, the entire God's martial continent will be trampled under my feet. Heaven laughed proudly. At this moment, suddenly, a voice rang inside Heaven's mind. Heaven frowned and immediately said to the few elders beside him, "Watch closely for me. Don't panic over anything. I'm going to leave for a moment." After he finished speaking, Heaven's figure flashed, and he disappeared from where he stood. In the secret room, a mass of black fog was floating in the air. Heaven kneeled down heavily and said, "Greetings, Master." "Patriarch, get lost. Get lost." Long Fei roared. While they were arguing intensely, none of Long Fei's family members appeared in the space between them. Long Fei was in the midst of incomparable pain. With a sudden roar, he said, "Bedevilment. Buzz." He moved to the side and instantly turned into a god's devil body. It was also at this moment that the aura in the space changed because it was too fast and there was no time to change. Long Fei's weakness was his family. But the sky demons? What was the weakness in the heavenly demon's heart? It was as if space was shorted. Why did Long Fei want to become bewitched? He wasn't trying to hide from the weakness in his heart, but was trying to think of a way to break through the formation. How do I break this formation? This is an illusion. How do I break it? What method? What can we do? Sharingan. Chapter 1059, Black Protector. Chapter 1059, Black Protector. He could see illusions and even create illusions. Long Fei thought about the Sharingan in the world of fire. If he could release the power of a Sharingan, he would be able to see through the illusions produced by the light-killing heart battle. The Sharingan possessed the power of the clear vision, being able to see through everything. Other than that, it also possessed unparalleled power. Heaven's light, moon's reading, kaleidoscope, God's might, Isya, Nachi, a series of super moves. The Sharingan was also a type of inheritance. However, it was also a technique. If he could comprehend it, he would definitely be able to break through the array formation. Long Fei was facing a kinship attack, and he already could not endure it any longer. Most likely, not only these women, even the relatives of Long Family's people would appear, and maybe even the brothers in a mortal domain. Long Fei could not bear it. He really couldn't bear this kind of heart attack. It was too hard. Sharingan, Sharingan. Long Fei kept on thinking in his mind, constantly thinking about the instant when every Sharingan in the Fire Shadow world was released. Every step, from the initial stage to the advanced stage to the ultimate move. Long Fei didn't let go of even a single step. With 500% of his abilities, he had the ability to comprehend techniques from another world. Long Fei wanted to enter the world of fire right now, just like the first blood wheel eyes that appeared from the shadow of the flames. He would just stand there quietly, feel it, and comprehend it. Savage City, Great Clan Elder's Mansion. Tian Qing's gaze tightened, and said with a heavy tone, "Killing Heart Battle. Why have I never heard of it before?" Reporting to Great Clan Elder, this was passed down to the Patriarch by the Powerhouse. "I heard that it is a formation that surpassed all of the needles in the gods' martial continent, and no one can break it." Tian Qing asked, "What about Long Fei and the rest?" That person replied, "So far, everything has been crushed. Other than Long Fei, the 4 Great King-level entities are hanging by a thread. As long as we use a little more strength in the formation array, the 4 of them will immediately die." Tian Qing's face sank. The faces of all the elders in the hall changed. Their red armor warrior was completely wiped out, but heaven only had one array to completely suppress the unstoppable Long Fei. The difference in strength between them and heaven was too big. The corner of his eyes twitched, and he said in a heavy voice, "Don't even think about getting what I can't get. You want to control Long Fei? I won't let you succeed." And then Tian Qing shouted, "Go to the City Lord's mansion." Once Long Fei was controlled by him, no matter how strong he was, it would be useless. Long Fei was the key to success or failure. He had to be the one to obtain the Dragon Domain. In front of that powerhouse, he could obtain everything he wanted. Become the master of the heaven, the master of the barbarians, the ruler of the gods' martial continent. If he didn't get, he would be stomped to death by heaven like an ant. Today, Red Armor Warrior was clearly aware of this fact, even in front of his cannon fodder, Tian Qing. This world is a world where people eat people. If you want to not be eaten, then you must be vicious and unscrupulous. Tian Qing's eyes turned sinister. The Killing Heart battle technique was controlled by heaven. When heaven left, the array formation automatically activated, but the speed of circulation was not fast. The elders who were watching the array didn't know what was happening. They could only see that the array was operating and that only the caster would be able to see what was happening inside. Suddenly, a commotion broke out in the backyard of the city Lord's mansion. "Humph! Who dares to stop me?" Tian Qing shouted angrily. "If you want to die, then go ahead. I have something important to discuss with the Patriarch. If anyone tries to stop me again, don't blame me for being rude." A large wave of elders rushed into the City Lord's mansion. Not long after, he arrived at the City Lord's guest hall, where he could clearly see the Killing Heart battle. Tian Qing's eyes turned sinister as he looked at the Killing Heart battle slightly, and shouted, "Where's the Patriarch?" "Grand Elder, the Patriarch has important matters to attend to. He'll be back soon." An elder replied, "Important things? What is important? Is it more important than capturing Long Fei? Now that Long Fei has already killed his way into the Savage City, and you guys are still sitting here. Have you forgotten what the Powerhouse has told you to do?" Tian Qing said deliberately. Several elders laughed. One of the elders said, "Great Clan Elder, Long Fei is inside the array. He is being crushed like a dead dog. He cannot escape." Tian Qing pretended to be shocked and asked, He's in the array? Don't joke with me. You were at the city gates just a moment ago, and now you're here? The elder replied, he really is inside. Tianqing immediately asked, what formation? Open it for me. Kill so many of my red armor guards. I must skin Long Fei alive. Finished. Tianqing shouted. Men, go inside the formation and capture him. The people beside the Grand Elder immediately rushed forward. One of the elders said, Great Elder, you cannot enter this array. If you want to capture him, wait for the Patriarch to come back. What? Using the Patriarch to suppress me? Tianqing was furious and immediately slapped him away. With great force, he slapped the elder down to the ground. In the Tian clan, other than the clan head, his cultivation was the strongest. He was also the second evolved person. His strength was only second to heaven. The elder was stunned by the slap, unable to find the north. Tianqing shouted loudly, who dares to stop me? Long Fei killed so many of my men. If I don't teach him a lesson, how will I be able to stand up in Savage City? Tianqing's eyes stared straight at the elders who stopped them. At this moment, a group of black shadows appeared in the hall and coldly said, if he wants to go in and throw his life away, then let him go in. Don't stop him. The surroundings instantly quieted down. Tianqing also looked up, his gaze sinister. Protector Black, Heaven's personal guard. It could even be said to be Heaven's shadow. The faces of the elders changed as they all called out respectfully, Protector Black. The black shadow looked down on one's appearance. It was covered by the black robe, and it looked just like a black robe floating on the ground. Protector Black's gloomy voice sounded out, Great Elder, didn't you say you want to enter the array? Go ahead. Long Fei is inside. Go in and capture him. Tianqing clenched his fists tightly. He had never thought of going into the array to capture him. He had only wanted to create trouble and stop Heaven from capturing him. He did not expect Heaven to not be present. Tianqing stared at the Black Protector and sneered. Since the Patriarch is not here, when is it your turn to speak? It was also at this time. The black figure moved and instantly appeared in front of Tianqing. It stared coldly at Tianqing and said, Great Elder, don't be so shameless, understand? Finished. The black figure moved, a ghost claw-like hand suddenly extended out, grabbing onto the air, grabbing onto an elder beside Tianqing. He fiercely threw him into the array. A blood-curdling screech sounded. At this moment, the elder landed in Long Fei's space. The corner of Long Fei's mouth quirked into a sinister smile. Chapter 1060, Sharingan Activated. Chapter 1060, Sharingan Activated. In the space, the corner of Long Fei's mouth hooked up. He glanced at the experience slot and faintly smiled. I just happened to be short of a few experience points upgrades. Why level up? This was because he needed the leveling reward. Even after comprehending Sharingan for half a day, he still did not manage to comprehend it. It was truly irritating. If he could trigger the leveling reward, then there might be another possibility. The elder stood up and looked at Long Fei. Illusions, illusions, these are all illusions. You're not Long Fei, right? Yes, I'm not Long Fei. I am your ancestor. Long Fei took out his dragon Saluress. Without saying a word, he rushed forward and slashed down. Ding! Congratulations to player Long Fei for killing Elder Tian clan for obtaining 180,000 experience, 12,030 power of celestial, and 10 energy values. Congratulations to the player Long Fei for leveling up. The current level is Immortal Stage Level 2. The system beep did not ring again. Long Fei was depressed. Damn, why didn't I trigger the leveling reward? The leveling rewards were the same as the drop rates. Sometimes they could trigger, sometimes they couldn't. It has a certain randomness and does not always receive a leveling reward. No leveling reward. Seems like there really is no other way. Long Fei's heart sank. Could it be that the only way is to comprehend the Sharingan? Yuan Ba, Sky Spirit, what happened to you two? Long Fei was exceptionally worried. Bedevilment. Long Fei was once again possessed, his heart turning sinister. No matter what this time, I must comprehend it. Upgrade, reward, entrustment failed. Right now, the only thing Long Fei could do was to comprehend Sharingan's to break this illusion. As long as he could break this illusion, he would be able to break this killing heart battle. Sharingan, Sharingan. Long Fei's mind began to frantically comprehend as he threw himself into it with all his heart. He muttered in his heart, "Brothers, wait for me." And then, Long Fei entered a state of selflessness. The Sharingan was a kind of blood vein inheritance. Only the people of the Ujibo clan, or people who had gotten their eyes, could release it. It was also a type of cultivation technique. However, it was extremely difficult to comprehend being halfway between the two. This was the predicament that Long Fei was currently in. However, Long Fei would not give up. Tianqing looked at the elder beside him who was pushed into the array, his eyes becoming gloomy. "Black Protector, what do you want to do?" The Black Shadow slightly said, "I don't want to do anything. I just want to remind Great Elder that this is the City Lord's mansion. If you want to behave atrociously, first, clearly see where this is." There was arrogance in his voice. He did not even put Tianqing in his eyes. If they were to fight, he would not be afraid. Both of Tianqing's eyes burned with anger as he roared, "Impudent! Who do you think you are? You're just a dog raised by the Tian family. You dare to be so arrogant in front of me? Do you think I won't dare to touch you?" Tianqing was also angry. Being humiliated in public naturally made him unhappy. Protector Black smiled sinisterly and said, "Try touching me." At this moment, the aura in the hall turned into a powerful force that came crushing down. A figure landed, stared at Tianqing, and said coldly, "Great Clan Elder, you want to touch my people?" The one who came was Heaven, who had just returned from a secret room. He wanted to be stronger than he was half an hour ago. Obviously, in this half hour, he had gained an even more powerful strength. Tianqing's mind trembled and was instantly crushed. His face secretly darkened and said with difficulty, "Patriarch." He was the one who made the first move. "Humph!" Heaven swept his sleeves and snorted coldly. "Tianqing, Master had summoned me just now. If you still dare to pester and obstruct me from controlling Long Fei, I will definitely not show mercy. This is the Lord's meaning. Do you understand?" Tianqing's face turned cold and did not dare to say another word. However, he hated Heaven to the core. "Use your master to pressure me. Heaven, I will definitely not let you control Long Fei so easily." At this time, Heaven took a step forward to look at the killing heart battle, then asked, "What's different about the formation?" The Black Protector replied, "There's nothing abnormal. Everything is normal." Heaven moved his body and instantly entered the formation. Looking at the space between Long Fei's eyebrows that shook a little, he coldly laughed. "Demonic body? Humph! Do you think I have no way to deal with you?" Heaven's voice sounded within Long Fei's space, and he said, "Long Fei, transformed into a devil, and your devil heart doesn't have any weakness. I didn't expect you to actually have some." However, the moment Heaven finished speaking, the idea immediately moved forward and laughed complacently. "Since your devil body doesn't have any weaknesses, then let's look at your brothers." A huge projection appeared in Long Fei's spatial realm. Li Yuanba's entire body was covered in blood, his entire body was filled with wounds, and he was barely standing. Looking at Long Fei, who was in front of him, he said, boss, what happened to you?" "Boss." From beginning to end, Li Yuanba did not retaliate. They could only allow Long Fei to hit them. In his heart, the Long Fei in front of him was his boss. Stupid. Long Fei was the most worried in his heart, and also the weakest. Just like Li Yuanba, the Arhut was also covered in blood and was on the verge of death. Arhut did not fight back. Heaven laughed complacently and said, "Long Fei, watch this little brother getting abused. Is that good? As long as you nod your head, I'll immediately let them go. And promise never touch them." Long Fei closed his eyes and did not speak. Heaven sneered and said, "Then let's look at two more. Look at your other two brothers." Look at this Lin Yusheng kneeling on the ground. He thinks that the one kneeling is his god's water tribe's patriarch, but it's actually me. Haha. Pitiful worm. Look at this kid, he's sound asleep. He thought his mother was holding him in her arms, but it's only a dog holding him. Haha. He began to laugh maniacally. Long Fei remained indifferent. And then Heaven moved and said, Long Fei, do you want to know where the array core of the Killing Heart battle is? Actually, the core of this formation is the heavenly star. You want to break the array? Then kill her. You have no other choice. You can only listen to me obediently. Otherwise, I will make you suffer till you die. Heaven slowly said. Remained silent. He didn't seem to care at all. Heaven lost his patience and spoke coldly. From the looks of it, you think that I'm messing around with you before killing the few of you? Anger flared in his eyes. Heaven's idea controlled the array formation, and the power inside the array immediately changed. The Long Fei who was attacking Li Yuanba suddenly sped up. With the increase of his strength, Li Yuanba continuously spat out blood, unable to resist. He was going to die soon. In that instant, a system announcement suddenly sounded out in Long Fei's mind. Ding! Congratulations to the player Long Fei for comprehending the Sharingan. Do you wish to cultivate it? Long Fei opened his eyes, his pupils changing. Chapter 1061, Illumination of the Sky. Chapter 1061, Illumination of the Sky. The pupil of his eyes changed. The strong stimulation caused Long Fei's eyes to suddenly change. The Sharingan that had changed into kaleidoscope mode. Moreover, it was the kaleidoscope of the weasel. After regaining real face, Long Fei's eyes moved, and he immediately stood up. In that moment, Long Fei saw through the illusion of the Killing Heart battle. Your eyes. Heaven was startled. He had seen the blood pupil and the black pupil, but his pupils had turned into a spiral shape, something he had never seen before. Moreover, Long Fei's eyes were bleeding. Long Fei said sinisterly, You've never seen it before, right? You'll see it soon. Heaven gave a cold laugh and said, Humph. Long Fei, this formation is a heart-severing great formation, a formation of the Chaos Realm. You want to break it? That's impossible. I advise you to obediently listen to me, or else you will die an ugly death. He was very clear about the might of the Killing Heart battle. Not to mention Long Fei, even the top powerhouse of the Flying Fairyland found it hard to break through. It did not even belong to this world array. Thus, Heaven was fearless. He was not worried that Long Fei would be able to break through the array. Instead, he laughed complacently and said, I'll give you one last chance. Without waiting for Heaven to finish speaking, Long Fei's left eye moved, the illusion in his eye broke, and he immediately saw through the Killing Heart battle. Following that, his eyes moved. Buzz! His power surged. Chaos Realm formation, right? The way he died was ugly, right? Last chance, right? I will let you know what your last chance is. Long Fei roared at the sky. All the energy in his body gushed out. Facing the space above him, he suddenly stirred at the Killing Heart battle. Heaven's illumination. Boom! A mass of black flames roared out, crazily burning. The place of combustion was nothing but ashes. Suddenly, this made him completely unprepared and unresponsive. Heaven could not react in time either. It was the Killing Heart battle. It was the array formation of the Chaos Realm, an existence that no one in the gods' martial continent could break through. As the flames burned, the formation began to crack. In less than half a minute, the formation would be broken. Moreover, Heaven was already unable to control the Killing Heart battle. Looking at it being burned by the black flames, his heart was filled with anxiety. And at this moment, Long Fei rose into the air and shouted loudly, Yuan Ba Arhut, Sky Spirit, Lin Yusheng. His voice was like a thunderclap that exploded in the hearts of the four of them. Suddenly, the four of them quickly regained their composure. Li Yuanba let out a furious roar, causing the golden-armored giant spirit god in the coffin to move. Yuan Ba grabbed at the air, took out the giant spirit axe, and chopped at the air with its axe. Break for me. Rumble. An incomparably loud sound rang out. The formation began to collapse at high speed. The black flames were still burning. Long Fei floated in the air. The four people behind him were standing, and Tianxing was unconscious on the ground. Li Yuanba said, "Boss, just now." Long Fei said, "Earlier, the both of you were in your own illusions, and it was he who made those illusions. Lin Yusheng, Arhut, you two go down and protect the heavenly star. Yuanba, sky spirit, you deal with the elders, I will deal with the boss." Long Fei quickly said, and coldly stared at the heavenly spirit, and said, "Killing heart battle, right? Illusion, right? I'll let you know what illusion techniques are." He closed his right eye and moved his left eye. Blood sacrifice world. Buzz. In this instant, heaven's world turned into a world of blood-colored mist, and blood filled the entire sky. From above, Long Fei looked like a god from above as he stared at him and sneered, "Welcome to my world." Here Long Fei was king. The paragons. With a thought, Heaven's body suddenly sank. A death scythe was placed on his neck as Long Fei laughed sinisterly. "Die." The sickle moved, reaping the harvest to his neck. Heaven's eyes froze and his body trembled, as if he had seen the most terrifying thing in the world. No, don't. Sickle harvesting. His neck was bleeding. For a moment, he saw his own death. No one could overcome the fear of death. Heaven's body was trembling, and his pants dripped with urine, causing him to pee in his pants. However, his cultivation was at the advanced stage of the flying immortal stage, and his mental state and divine sense were beyond ordinary. The most important thing was that he was an evolved human, and he was up against illusions. He suddenly pulled out a dagger and stabbed down at his thigh. Buzz! The world of blood sacrifice ruptured. The surrounding blood mist dispersed and returned to the real world, but there was a bloody wound on his neck, and his crotch was wet from fright. He was completely enraged. Heaven shouted fiercely, "Long Fei!" Long Fei smirked and said coldly, "Why are you calling your ancestors?" Heaven became furious and took a step forward. "I want you dead." Long Fei was not afraid, and said, "I want you to die too." Swish! Heaven's figure suddenly disappeared, and instantly appeared in front of Long Fei. Revealing a sinister face, he smashed down with his palm at the top of Long Fei's head. Golden Dragon Protector. Long Fei did not dodge and roared in his heart. Level 9, unparalleled. Buzz. He released his attribute power of 512 times. Super Scion, transform. Thousand Blessings sect. A giant golden palm struck towards Heaven's chest. Boom, boom. Two loud bangs. Long Fei's body heavily landed and smashed onto the ground. A deep crater was formed on the ground, and the surrounding area of the crater had cracked open. Heaven also spat out a mouthful of blood, his body falling down from the explosion, directly smashing the hole into pieces. This time, with a clash of power, he had a 50% chance of breaking it. However, the moment Long Fei was smashed to the ground, his body bounced, and he instantly flew away. Chua! His figure shot out like a rocket. To deal with a powerhouse at the peak of the flying fairyland, he must not give him any chance to catch his breath. Once he is given this chance, Long Fei will definitely not be his match. It was to take advantage of his illness and take his life. In the instant that he could not react, he was directly blasted to death. Long Fei took a step forward, and like a ghost, he instantly rushed to the hall. At this moment, Protector Black was like a mass of black mist, quickly blocking in front of Long Fei, causing Long Fei's eyes to turn sinister. Nox attack. Yes, sir. Boom. A basketball fell from the sky with a bang, directly blowing up the ground. A bandit-like monster stood in front of Black Protector. At this moment, Great Clan Elder Tianxing blocked it too. Galen. Yes, sir. Boom. A great sword dropped down, blocking at Long Fei's side, and shouted out, "Person is in the tower." The two great powerhouse S were blocked by the two great holy general S. The dragon salure in Long Fei's hand fell and dragged it along the ground. The idea was ready to link with the barbarian king at any moment, and a sinister smile appeared on the corner of his mouth. Let's see who kills who. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.